What's going on, my fellow A-Plusers? Welcome back once again to a brand new episode of A-Plus Hero Report, your weekly stop for your Marvel, DC, television, and movie news right here on our YouTube page, going live today for you guys, not only on YouTube, but also over on our Facebook page, A-Plus Opinion. So thank you very much, each and every one of you, for definitely joining us this weekend as we're set to go ahead and wrap up all the hottest news that wind up hitting us here this week. And we actually had ourselves quite a few articles that we're going to be dabbling into today. We actually have 6 in total. There are actually a couple of more that actually almost hit the actual articles this week to talk about. They may jump into our honorable mention section here in just a little bit, but we definitely had a ton of news that we're going to be breaking down for you guys today. So while it's not a full panel today, it's certainly still not just myself. Today we also have Stuart Branscombe in the house. What's going on, Stuart? Good to see you, buddy. How you doing, man?
Doing really good. Good to see you as well.
Is Kelso down there with you by any chance?
Nah, just me. They all moved out of the house, and now I got the basement to myself, obviously.
Nice, man. How you been, sir? You doing all right?
Yeah, I've been doing pretty well this last week. It's finally starting to feel like things are going back to normal at the movie theaters because we finally got like a big crowd of people coming in consistently instead of just for very select showtimes.
Oh, nice, man. Nice. I do have a question since we actually did have a brand new movie release this week in Mortal Kombat. Did you get the opportunity to check it out in theaters?
I did not watch it in theaters just because I was working a late shift all weekend, so I never had a chance to. So instead, my girlfriend and I, we watched it on HBO Max, and it was pretty dumb, but you know what? We got some enjoyment out of it. Not gonna lie. One thing that was hilarious to me about it is the fights were game accurate, but not in the best way. Like in the way of you get people constantly getting stabbed and like fatal injuries in the middle of a fight, and they're still like just walking it off like it's nothing.
Yeah, man, they definitely pushed the boundaries for sure when it came to Mortal Kombat. Yeah, I agree with you. I mean, I enjoyed it for certainly what it is, but I think we all came there for the action and the blood and gore, and I think they definitely delivered on that sense. Definitely strong in that department. Maybe not so much the strongest when it comes to the story aspects. Although I was a really big fan of all the Sub-Zero and Scorpion stuff that we wind up getting in that sense. So yeah, we'll definitely see what happens. I know we have ourselves a Mortal Kombat spoiler review that I think is going to be coming to you guys today. If I'm not mistaken, I believe Indy is actually doing the spoiler review for you guys. So definitely go ahead and check it out whenever you can in regards to that. But other than that, well, first off, Stuart, I'm glad to see that you're getting back to work, man, that they're utilizing you for more hours now. I personally am thrilled that movie theaters are open again. I really want to go ahead and start heading back. I do have both of my COVID shots. The girlfriend, I think, gets her second one this Tuesday, I think, this week. So we should be ready to be back to normal to a certain extent. How about you? How far along your shots are?
Oh, I got both of them taken care of now. I had my second one taken on the 18th. And yeah, surprisingly, I had no side effects or anything. I think maybe I was really tired like right after getting the second shot, but that was about it.
Yeah, the first shot I was pretty exhausted for like a day and a half. Second shot, I wind up having minor flu-like symptoms. Like I have terrible migraine, body aches and chills, and that's about it. That was about the extent of it for me, the second one. So not too bad. I didn't feel like a total baby, because I do know that us guys can turn into man babies from time to time, but I managed. Let's see here, Stuart. Before we get into our topics, as always, guys, 2 things of business I definitely want to go ahead and knock out of the way. If you guys have any live viewer questions that you certainly would like to go ahead and submit over to us, you can do so at any time during the week or anytime during now at A+Opinions at gmail.com. Again, A+Opinions@gmail.com. If there's an article that you happen to read or a show that you happen to watch that you definitely want to go ahead and talk about or comment and make sure that it gets brought up on this show towards the very end, again, feel free to go ahead and submit your live viewer questions to A+Opinions@gmail.com anytime during the week. And then once we get through our topics, guys, we definitely will go ahead and get into your live viewer questions. Before we get into the topics, you guys know how we do around here. We do have some honorable mentions that we definitely want to go ahead and talk with you guys. Just some quick tidbits that maybe didn't quite make the news that we're going to talk about this week, but still find quite important enough to go ahead and bring to your guys' attention. Stuart, by any chance, do you happen to have an honorable mention today? I think you're muted. Oh,
Yeah, I am. Yeah, no, unfortunately, no honorable mentions today that I can think of.
no problem. I definitely have quite a few that I want to go ahead and knock out real quick for you guys. If you guys are interested in Hulu's upcoming Marvel series, MODOK, that is in fact set to go ahead and air on May 21st. Yeah, not only did they give us a brand new poster, but they also went ahead and dropped a brand new trailer for the Patton Oswalt inspired MODOK series, which if you guys haven't seen any of the trailers and you're still not quite sure what this series is about, definitely go ahead and check it out. It definitely had me laughing. I really do love the perspective that Patton Oswalt just brings to MODOK, and I just love his sense of humor, especially somebody that's been such a big comic book fan over the years. His involvement in even like the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. program and things like that as well. So to see what Patton Oswalt certainly does with MODOK, I definitely am looking forward to it. It seems like it's from the same people that probably did Robot Chicken and all those inspired Cartoon Network, was it Adult Swim shows? So I'm really looking forward to this. Did you get the chance to check out the trailer at all, Stuart?
Yeah. I'm definitely looking forward to the series. It looks absolutely hilarious.
Yeah, I still don't know. While I wouldn't want to say MODOK was one of my favorite characters in the Marvel comic books, but I definitely do want to see what Patton Oswalt's take on MODOK certainly is. But from everything that I've seen, it looks absolutely hilarious. So I definitely will go ahead and at least check out the first couple of episodes. But May 21st, MODOK does in fact arrive. And then one of the other honorable mentions I wanted to bring up, Stuart, that almost made the cut here this week, because I do think that it was certainly noteworthy. Russell Crowe is set to go ahead and portray the character Zeus in the upcoming Thor Love and Thunder. The article that I'm reading here says that the actor revealed in a radio interview that he was doing his last day of filming as Zeus, who is famously the father of Hercules and the ruler of the Olympian gods. This is what he said. He says, I'm going to get on my bicycle and I'm going to ride up to the Disney Fox studio. He says around 9:15, I shall be Zeus. It's for Thor. It's my last day of Zeusing and I'm going to enjoy it. So it says in the Marvel canon, Zeus is the Olympian god of thunder and wisdom, the youngest son of Kronos, and he later killed to take the throne. Zeus has superhuman qualities such as strength and immortality. It is an interesting addition from a Greek mythology, as Thor is from Germanic mythology. So a couple things, Stuart, when I think about this, the idea of Russell Crowe playing Zeus, one, it certainly makes sense considering the fact that our villain is in fact Gore the God Butcher. So if you're a god, he's coming after you at some point in time. So I would expect Russell Crowe maybe won't be having too much screen time this movie. Who certainly knows? But outside of that, the fact that he's also the father to Hercules, I am wondering if this finally gives us our Hercules character in the MCU. What do you think we're going to get out of here from Russell Crowe? You're on mute again, man.
We're definitely going to get a tie-in to crap, how did I forget the name of that movie that's been in development for a while? Eternals, yeah, because I believe Hercules is supposed to be a character in that movie, correct?
Ooh, I don't know. That's a good question.
Regardless, though, I do feel like we're going to get some kind of hint or something to like the MCU version of Hercules at some point, like with Zeus's character. And yeah, I'm all for it. I absolutely love Greek mythology, so I'm glad that they're implementing that into Thor. Although, God of War already did the whole Norse versus Greek gods thing, so they're clearly just ripping God of War off. But in all seriousness, though, yeah, I think it's absolutely fantastic that he's playing Zeus, and even if it is for a small role, because it sounds like he was only in the studio for like a day or two, I still think it'll be kind of interesting to see, because you said Russell Crowe, right?
Yep.
Yeah, I think him as Zeus is like a perfect casting decision. So yeah, that's cool.
I think so too. I mean, based off of what he did as Jor-El in Man of Steel, I was really impressed with. I've always been impressed with Russell Crowe, whether it be Gladiator, whether it be A Beautiful Mind. He's just an incredible actor. So the fact that Marvel was even able to tap him to come on board here, and now he's got somebody like a Taika Waititi directing him. Big role or small role. Anytime you get Russell Crowe into a movie, I'm all there. So we shall definitely see what he does as Zeus, but it certainly opens up the doors for potential potential maybe other MCU characters or some great showdowns in this upcoming Thor Love and Thunder movie. So I'll definitely go ahead and keep a lookout for that and keep you guys updated for sure. Who popped up in the live chat? Oh, we got Indy in the live chat today. Indy's not able to join us live, but he is able to go ahead and at least join us in our chat. So all right, guys, with the honorable mentions now wrapped up, we definitely will go ahead and start diving into our main topics for the day. So Stuart, are you ready to go ahead and tackle these with me, man?
I am.
Let's go ahead and do it. So, guys, as of you, maybe some of you certainly know, but as of Friday, we wind up getting ourselves the finale to The Falcon and the Winter Soldier. A stellar finale, if you ask me. I was actually really impressed with the way that the whole entire series wind up actually turning out. We get the opportunity to see Sam Wilson actually stepping up to now carry the mantle of Captain America. If there was any opportunity for Anthony Mackie to certainly shine, him and Sebastian Stan certainly did in this series that we wind up getting. But Anthony Mackie said, you know what? We may not have a Captain America and Steve Rogers anymore, but you know what? We have a Captain America in me. And he did a fantastic job all series long, just explaining and showing us as to why he should certainly be the next Captain America. And he impressed so much, Stuart. He impressed so much that we are now officially getting ourselves a Captain America 4 movie. That's right, guys. Captain America 4 is currently in development. Let's go ahead and get into this, Stuart, real quick. So let me go ahead and bring up this article. This one actually comes to us from the Hollywood Reporter with the exclusive story that Captain America 4 is in the works with the Falcon and Winter Soldier showrunner Malcolm Spellman actually leading the way. So it says Spellman will pen the script with Dallin Musan, which is another staff writer for the Marvel series, but Malcolm Spellman is picking up Captain America's shield once again. So we definitely have him to definitely thank for this. It says no casting for the projects are officially known, but Friday's episode offered plenty of roads for the feature to take. Up until this point, Chris Evans has played Captain America via the Steve Rogers character, appearing in a trio of solo films, Avengers outings, and assorted other Marvel films also. And the question of who is entitled to carry the shield or Captain America was central to the show. The feature will likely continue the story of Sam Wilson, played by Anthony Mackie, and the current wielder of the shield. But as the writers get to work, it will be interesting to see how the story unfolds, with there now being multiple people who have been Captain Americas in the MCU. Currently, no director is attached, and Evans' involvement remains unconfirmed, even though we do have several rumors over the past couple of months that Chris Evans does plan on making a return at some particular point in time. It does say here, Falcon and Winter Soldier, which also stars Sebastian Stan as Bucky, has earned strong critical and fan reaction. Spellman assembled a nearly all-black writers' room for the series, which has been praised for bringing the Black experience to the forefront, quite unlike any other superhero film or TV show before it. The series has tracked issues with discriminatory leading practices to the original sin of America, building itself on the backs of Black people. So, yeah, they definitely go ahead and talk a little bit further about it. But yeah, we're going to be getting Malcolm Spellman, the showrunner of Falcon and the Winter Soldier, to go ahead and bring us a Captain America 4. So if you thought that it was just going to be a trilogy, guys, not anymore. Sam Wilson has certainly shown himself worthy enough to go ahead and be Captain America. And now we have a film with Sam Wilson at the forefront. Let me bring this over to you, Stuart. I know you weren't on the Falcon and Winter Soldier finale with us, but give us your brief thoughts just on the series as a whole, and just really your excitement level for getting this announcement that we are in fact getting ourselves a Captain America 4. What are your thoughts?
So I thought the show itself was absolutely amazing. It was I'm almost kind of sad that we're not getting a season 2, but at the same time, at least knowing that it's going to theaters, for a film so we can get the more of him as Captain America, I'm definitely all for it. I think the way that they ended the show in particular was something very unique, because I don't know, like rarely you don't usually see Steve Rogers, Captain America, talking to authority the way that that we got with Captain America with Sam in the Falcon the Winter Soldier. So I hope we get more of that within the upcoming movies, because it made like it made it such a perfect finale for the series. So I hope that a lot of that weight that he kind of brings to himself really carries forward in the upcoming Captain America movie. Knowing that it's going to be the same people working on it also gets me excited, because it really shows that Marvel recognizes talent when they see it, and they know not to just move on from it. So that's absolutely amazing to me.
Yeah, it was funny you mentioned that, because I was just talking to Indy yesterday about it, and to be able to fill the shoes of somebody like the Russo brothers after what they did from the Captain America Civil War and Winter Soldier and the Avengers films, right? They definitely left a lasting legacy for Captain America, Steve Rogers, with some great iterations of movies, right? Like how do you even make another Captain America movie out of that? But the fact that you have somebody in Malcolm Spellman, who just did such a beautiful job with him and a couple of the other writers for this series, of still giving us that sort of Captain America, Winter Soldier sort of vibe to it, but also adding their own unique flavor and taste to it, with Sam Wilson and Isaiah Bradley, and just the focus on Black America and the history and things like that. I really loved just what they were able to combine and bring to the forefront here for the TV screen. So the fact that they were still able to make it as compelling and emotional as they were, and still give us those same type of Captain America trilogy vibes that we wind up getting, I think this is a perfect fit. And you're absolutely right. The fact of Marvel recognizing talent where they have it and continuing to utilize it for even the bigger screen now. So I'm really excited to see what Malcolm Spellman's going to do for the movie. And, I know you say that you want to see a season 2, but I wouldn't necessarily say that this is that this means that we wouldn't get ourselves a season 2. I still would love to see the adventures of Captain America and the Winter Soldier. We even saw the tagline kind of pop up at the very end of this. So I am kind of hoping that maybe after the movie itself, maybe we do get ourselves a second season somewhere down the line. Like I'm not expecting one clearly next year, maybe like 2 or 3 years from now, but I definitely would love to see a second season, even with this Captain America 4 film coming out. But yeah, you never know. Who knows where they shift their priorities to? You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. And there was actually something that you said that I kind of agree with. The fact that I think Falcon the Winter Soldier really brings the vibe in from Falcon and the Winter Soldier brings in the vibe from Captain America Winter Soldier. And to me, it also kind of brings in the vibe of Captain America Civil War, because this, just the way the show has been directed, each and every episode, they all just feel like they're directed by the Russo brothers, because they do such a good job of just feeling like they're directly tied to the previous Captain America movies. So I think this show is going to be like a perfect bridge for when we get that next Captain America movie, and we see him as we see Sam as the Captain America in theaters. I think this is going to be like the perfect thing. This was the perfect thing to set that up. And I think, like, for the most part, if they bring in the same kind of crew that we had with the show, like, I know they're bringing in the head writer, but I hope they also bring back a lot of the crew that worked on it as well, because then I feel like audiences that watch this next Captain America movie but probably haven't seen Falcon and the Winter Soldier, they're going to watch this movie and think, yeah, this definitely does feel like Captain America 4.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree with you there. I think that is a smart choice. And I do hope that they wind up bringing other people back from this crew to really continue to give us that same vibe. Even though this is going to be a Captain America 4 movie with Sam Wilson most likely at the lead, I am curious as to who else might wind up popping up in here. Like, for me, it is hard to imagine Sebastian Stan not being in this. I would assume that he would probably be in this, and I would almost maybe even assume that his the gentleman that we saw him working alongside Sam in here with Torres, I would be interested to see if Torres maybe even pops up in here. Also, considering the fact that Sam gave him his leftover Falcon wings, if you will, and I believe in the comic books, Torres does become a version of the Falcon himself. So maybe we could have another Captain America and Falcon combination, just with Sam at the lead.
Mm-hmm. I think that would be awesome.
Yeah. So, guys, we definitely want to know your thoughts. Look, for me, I also find this really interesting in the sense that Thor's finished its trilogy, but we've definitely have gotten an additional Thor movie out of this. You know, Captain America has finished its trilogy. Do you think maybe we could see ourselves with an Iron Man 4 at some point in time down the road, or you think that's completely out of the question?
Honestly, it's very possible because they are currently working on a War Machine TV series, so I could see
Yeah, they
that
got
leading to him getting his own movie as well.
Yeah, they've got the Armor Wars for War Machine, and then they even have an Ironheart, I believe, for Riri Williams. I would be curious as to whether or not they would even um, like. I wonder if it would be more of a War Machine movie per se as Iron Man 4. Like, I wonder if they would even continue along with that Iron Man moniker. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Oh, wait. I guess I should have done that thing where that a lot of people that don't like Tom Holland Spider-Man do and go, "Oh, we already got an Iron Man 4. It was called Spider-Man Homecoming."
Yeah, man. All those people that say that he's just another Iron Man. He's just
Yeah.
another Tony Stark. Yeah, but we'll definitely see. Who else we got? AJ's in the house. What's up? AJ says, "Yo, Adam has a new background." Yeah, it's a work in progress. I literally just a ton of my stuff. I am officially moved. So I'm no longer in Louisville. I am now in Fort Worth, living with a girlfriend, and so we'll literally whenever we pack and unpack some stuff, it's just coming into this room right now. But this will eventually be like sort of the main office here for A plus. So definitely some cleaning to do and definitely some decorating to do. So you may see some changes over the next couple of weeks here as it progresses.
Know what you got to do? You got to get a green screen, and then you got to, for your background, have one corner of the basement from That 70s Show. I'll have another corner from the basement, and then Indy gets another corner. So
we'll just do like we're doing the circle
Exactly.
point of view. Yes, I love it. Yeah, maybe we should definitely do that, man. All right. Let's see here. All right, guys. Well, listen, at the end of the day, we definitely want to know your thoughts. You hear this Captain America 4 is currently in development. Sam Wilson planning on leading with Malcolm Spellman, the showrunner from Falcon and the Winter Soldier, helming this particular project. What did you guys think of the Falcon and the Winter Soldier series? And how happy are you to certainly see a Captain America 4? Definitely go ahead and let your thoughts be known in the live chat or the comment section box below after this episode airs. All right, Stuart, let's go ahead and dive into our next article here. Let me go. Sorry, I messed that up with the camera views. Let me go ahead and bring this up. We'll go ahead and actually stay in regards to the MCU here this week because actually kicking off this week, early Monday, if I'm not mistaken, we actually did get ourselves our first look at an upcoming Marvel movie by the name of Shang-Chi. Now, Stuart, I know this was one of your most anticipated or really highly anticipated Marvel films that are certainly going to go ahead and come out. So the fact that we literally talked about this on Sunday and then Monday they wind up actually dropping a brand new trailer, it was just perfect timing to certainly say the least. But not only did we get ourselves a Shang-Chi official teaser trailer, but we also got ourselves an official poster here for the upcoming series or movie, I should say, showing Simu Liu as the main character here in Shang-Chi. This feels very much more like a character poster. I really wish that they might have put a little bit more effort into a teaser poster for Shang-Chi, but I'll definitely take it because he looks fantastic in this costume, honestly. But Stuart, we had our first opportunity here to see the trailer for Shang-Chi this past week. We did do ourselves an actual reaction video to the Shang-Chi. It's actually a Shang-Chi trailer. It is actually up on our YouTube page as of this moment if you want to go ahead and check out our reaction video towards it. But we finally wind up getting ourselves an official trailer and first look. And I got to tell you, Stuart, I was a real big fan of this. I was really thrilled to finally get ourselves our first glimpse. Shang-Chi definitely is a character that I personally am not too familiar with outside of, in the comic books, to say the least. But for me, when it comes to the MCU and what they've been doing, I know that they've been loving the idea of dabbling into other genres, if you will. And so one of those genres that I've been highly anticipating is, in fact, martial arts. And so to be able to see what Marvel's take on a martial arts film is going to look like has me through the roof, to be perfectly honest with you. Getting the opportunity to see Shang-Chi and him kind of going through some of, going back through some of his memories as we see in here, him growing up as a child, being trained, coming to find out that his father kind of let him live in the outside world for the past 10 years, if you will, really separating himself from his training and the world that he kind of grew up in and things like that. But clearly something has certainly pulled him back into the fold and into the fight. And this gets me excited, man. Like one of the lines in here, Stuart, of his father talking about the sense that he trained him to face off against some of the deadliest enemies in the world that are out there to certainly kill him, right? To be able to defeat those foes, just makes me just think of all the great battles that are headed Shang-Chi's way. Like, it was always one of those things for me. How do you bring a character like Shang-Chi, who's usually so street level in a sense, to the forefront, or even have him play a bigger role in something like the Avengers, right? I mean, we've seen our Avengers go on these big cosmic adventures so far, go up against these gods and these villains from outer space that are just incredibly powerful, right? Like, how does a person like Shang-Chi fend off any of those characters? But to just see a glimpse of what he's capable of doing in this trailer, knowing he's been trained to take on some of the deadliest people in this world, I'm just thinking to myself, Shang-Chi ain't got nothing to worry about, man. He's going to be just fine when it comes to joining the Avengers and being in this world. But I loved what I saw from Simu. I loved even seeing Aquafina in here, bringing some the touch of humor that this movie certainly is going to need. But the martial arts looks beautiful, very Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon moments with some great wire work. I mean, this is just the teaser trailer. I haven't even been given an official trailer yet to really sink my teeth into what we're going to be getting. But this is everything that I was certainly hoping for and looking forward to, and I'm definitely ready to see more. But Stuart, you had the opportunity to go ahead and check out the Shang-Chi trailer for yourself. What are some of your thoughts after watching that trailer, especially considering the fact of how high up on your anticipation list it is?
So, I had like a whole list of different things that I really wanted to see from a Shang-Chi movie, and this trailer seems to hit all of it. So we get the wire fu that, I just absolutely love almost in any movie. It doesn't even have to be done well. There's just something about wire fu that always just gets me on the edge of my seat. But, when you have that and you actually give it a budget, so the movie that you mentioned, Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, and then this movie, really looks like it's going to be on par with that, because now you got that Marvel budget along with that great wire fu choreography that I really love. My anticipation for this movie is huge right now. And I also love that we're finally going to be getting like a seemingly comic book accurate version of the Mandarin. Like in the comic books, the Mandarin wasn't the father of Shang-Chi, but it's kind of such a minor change that I don't think anyone's going to care too much. And the only reason they're doing that is so they don't because I would assume that they probably don't even have the rights to use this character currently. Because it's or maybe he's public domain. I'm actually not sure. But in the comic books, his father was Fu Manchu. Mm-hmm. So I could see Marvel just not wanting to use that character for several reasons, though. So, yeah, I think making the Mandarin his father within the MCU was actually a brilliant idea. And it's kind of a cool. And it's just cool for people who weren't really the biggest fans of Iron Man 3's rendition of the Mandarin.
Yeah, it definitely shows that Marvel certainly has always had a plan for the Mandarin, especially after the swerve that they wind up giving us when it came to Iron Man 3 that a lot of people certainly weren't pleased with. I do love me some Ben Kingsley, so I'm perfectly okay with it. It definitely didn't hit me or bother me too much. But yeah, you're definitely right in the sense of it'll be great to see the real Mandarin here. Again, just to see a glimpse of him. We haven't even seen the powers that he's certainly even capable of, but I would be interested to see how they're going to portray the Mandarin on on the big screen. Like Marvel at this point, when it comes to the Mandarin, you can't mess this one up. Like you psyched us out so much when it comes to Iron Man 3 that when it comes to Shang-Chi, you gotta deliver. You gotta deliver. So I'm really looking forward to that. And you're right, Stuart. They definitely do take liberties when it comes to this particular movie for sure, especially when it comes to the origin story. Let me actually go ahead and highlight this article. Entertainment Weekly put out a great article interviewing Simu Liu, along with the writer and the director for the upcoming Shang-Chi movie, just to kind of give us a little bit more of an insight as to what we can expect. But one of the things that even you mentioned, and first off, this is a great shot of Simu Liu in his costume. He looks absolutely great here as Shang-Chi. But one of the things that you mentioned was about his origin story. So it says, bringing Shang-Chi into the MCU almost meant updating some of his dated origins. The character's comic backstory has shifted through the years, and Keaton and the writer Dave Callahan were eager to dispense with some of the early issues racially insensitive cliches. So this is what he says. He says, when you look at the character of Shang-Chi through the comic books going back to the 70s and 80s, the fact that he existed and the fact that he was an Asian American was amazing. But at the same time, there are aspects of that portrayal of him that maybe could feel a little stereotypical. So when we first started to map out who this character was and what his journey was going to be over the course of the film, we were all very sensitive to not go into the stereotypical territory. And so he says, but part of that being involved, making sure Shang-Chi had Asian voices both in front of and behind the camera. So they said, remember, the Asian culture is so diverse. I grew up in Hawaii. Hawaiian food is like Chinese, Japanese, Korean, Hawaiian, Filipino, all mixed together. That is kind of what our crew was. It's like this a big mix of Asian cultures coming together and responding to the script and saying things like, oh, that doesn't quite feel right. All of that helped contribute to what I think is really beautifully updated to what started in the comic books a few decades ago. So you definitely get to see Asian representation being presented here when it comes to this film script, and really just seeing how much more dated or updated they certainly have had to come over the years when it comes to Shang-Chi. So I am glad that they are at least taking their liberties and really providing us with a very unique and I guess a new original origin here for Shang-Chi. And I think even Simu Liu compares it to, when it comes to Shang-Chi's origins, he's had several different ones. The fact that we've seen different iterations of a Spider-Man or a Batman story kind of being told. It's very similar to Shang-Chi over the years in the comic books. So now that they have that sort of liberty to take their own really change up his origin story a little bit, I think is pretty fitting, especially when it comes to the MCU here, especially based off of just some of the stereotypical ways that certainly were for the Shang-Chi character. But what do you think about that, Stuart?
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. So first time I read Master of Kung Fu, like the original Shang-Chi comic books, I was really young, so a lot of the stuff that they mentioned that's, very much wouldn't sit well with audiences nowadays, as when I was a kid, that stuff kind of flew over my head. But of course, it's one of those you revisit and you're like, oh yeah, this would definitely be problematic. And it's kind of funny because I remember an interview a while back when Luke Cage, the TV series, came to Netflix, and you had Tarantino, who was straight up pissed off about all the changes that they wanted to make sure it wouldn't be like they said in the article, culturally insensitive. And you had Tarantino being like, "What? No, you ruined Luke Cage's character from taking all that away from him." Like, I just remember finding that hilarious. But yeah, so it's kind of like the same. Like, I wonder if he's going to say the same thing with the Shang-Chi movies. Like, no, how dare you change this stuff? But yeah, no, I think it's really cool who they have actually making these decisions. The fact that they, go like getting like a Hawaiian crew. Like, I don't know if he meant like by that statement like everyone there was from Hawaii, but I think like just having a writer in there from Hawaii where he's like around a lot of people from not just one specific country in Asia, like several. I think that's really good because then it'll diverse, like it helps it so you can have a diversity within the writing within the different cultures, but it also makes it so you don't have to worry about because it's good to include culture, right? But you also don't want to be, you don't want it to go to the stereotype level. So I think
Mhm.
when you have people from those cultures like working on it, it definitely helps you work on being able to include more culture without, being stereotypical, if that makes
Yeah,
sense.
yeah, no, it definitely makes perfect sense. And yeah, so it was actually the director that was speaking to that, Destin Daniel Cretton.
Mhm.
He's actually, it says who was born in Hawaii and is of Japanese descent.
Got it.
And then he says predominantly they do have an Asian cast, and especially people working behind the scenes as well, just from all over, really. It's a great article. If you guys get the opportunity to go ahead and check it out, again, it's through Entertainment Weekly. It's from Simu Liu, and they really are talking about just from the directors and the writers' perspective, also in regards to just Shang-Chi's journey from when he almost had a movie created back in the 1980s. I think there's even a story in here that Stanley reportedly tried to develop a Shang-Chi film starring Brandon Lee as early as the 1980s, but unfortunately, over the years, it just kind of fell through. So it does say here, it says, now after a history of false starts, the martial arts master is finally getting his own turn in the spotlight. And the producer says, the core of Shang-Chi's arc in the comics is really a family drama. That was something that Destin keyed into really early on in our conversations, the idea of taking this broken family and this really dark, even abusive family background and seeing what that does to a child over time, which I think we can kind of even see glimpses of when we look at the trailer itself. The training that this kid had to certainly go through. I mean, and that's just a training, right? We haven't seen how they're treating him mentally or anything like that in this trailer alone. So it would be interesting to see, like, how do you go from that lifestyle of being trained over all these years to be one of the most deadliest people on the planet, and then being let go for 10 years and being like, hey, go out into the world and experience life and try and see like how somebody like that really handles being on their own type of thing. Like, what kind of resentment do they maybe hold towards their father or the organization? So I think this is really fascinating stuff, a really great territory for Shang-Chi to go ahead and tackle. So from the teaser trailer alone, I'm impressed. Bring it on. This movie drops in September. I'm pumped for it, Stuart.
You know what would make that whole 10-year thing even more depressing, though? Because, yeah, like, if we're going with the assumption that his whole life he's being trained by his dad in this really, like, kind of abusive relationship, like we kind of see in the trailer, and then, finally out of nowhere, he's like, okay, you got 10 years to live your life, then you have to come back. I could see it taking 10 years for someone to get over that and finally be mentally ready to live their life. And then that's when the dad's like, okay, you got to come back now. That's where I'm wondering if that's the direction that they're going in.
Yeah, I'd be really fascinated. Like, how do you take somebody from that life that's guy? It almost kind of reminds me of like, this is probably a really terrible example, but like for me, just the idea of so for me, for a little bit background for myself, in my first year in college, I went to a Christian university, Liberty University, out in Virginia. I was really big into religion back then, and the idea of seeing so many people like sort of restrained from truly like being themselves. You had curfews at like 10 o'clock at night. You couldn't go to rated R movies, right? All your music had to be sort of edited and things like that. And then when you actually do get out into the outside world after college and you start like experience all these things that you were kind of held back from for all those years, it definitely can change you, certainly as a person. And then you want to ask somebody who's now lived that life to kind of come back. I feel like that's probably a pretty difficult move for anybody to have to get used to or even want to do. You know what I mean? So I do find it really fascinating to see what Shang-Chi is going to certainly do in this movie. And I'm assuming they're making the Mandarin his father is kind of what you got from the trailer.
Yeah.
Okay.
That would be my assumption anyways.
Okay, just want to make sure we were on the same page because I was assuming it was the Mandarin that was narrating, but he looks great, so I'm really excited to see what this movie holds. But guys, we want to know your thoughts. You see the Shang-Chi poster, you see the Shang-Chi trailer. What are your thoughts in regards to it? Certainly let us know your thoughts in the live chat or the comment section box below. And if you guys are interested in checking out more of Simu Liu, if you're not familiar with where he's from, AJ does bring up Kim's Convenience. He filmed his scenes in isolation cancellation due to COVID. But Kim's Convenience, I think, is either on Hulu or maybe even Netflix. I did check out the first couple of episodes. Really enjoyable for sure. But definitely go ahead and check it out if you want to see more of Simu. Let's see here. AJ also says, what's good with Black Widow? Is that still happening? Yes, it is still happening. I believe it's set to go ahead and be released. Let me see. Black Widow release date. It's been changed so many damn times. July 9th. So it looks like it's aiming for maybe that July 4th weekend or maybe just after that. So yeah, Black Widow certainly is still on the docket. So don't worry about that at all. All right, Stuart. With that out of the way, I think we'll go ahead and jump into our next topic. We are going to go ahead and actually stay in the realm of the MCU here for you guys, but we're going to go ahead and transition over to some Disney Plus series for you guys. When it comes to Marvel and Disney Plus, I mean, we've gotten two great series so far in WandaVision along with Falcon and the Winter Soldier. If you guys haven't checked them out, please do yourselves a favor. They are currently both all on Disney Plus as of right now. But we got ourselves a ton of Disney Plus series coming from Marvel, right, Stuart? We've got Loki that we definitely have to certainly look forward to. We even have ourselves Hawkeye, which is officially wrapped production as of this week as well. So that's going to be coming to us before we know. We got She-Hulk, we got Moon Knight, Miss Marvel. I mean, the list continues to go on and on. But one of the series that definitely jumped out to a lot of people was, in fact, Secret Invasion, as we know that we're going to be having ourselves a returning Samuel L. Jackson as Nick Fury in what tends to be, or at least I think is certainly going to be a huge series when it comes to the MCU, and hopefully really continuing to lay out the groundwork for where the MCU is certainly going in the future. So Secret Invasion is certainly happening. And I got to be honest, Stuart, I was not expecting casting announcements to come out as soon as they certainly have. So we actually have two casting announcements for Secret Invasion that we want to go ahead and bring to your guys' attention. The first one up here, Stuart, that I want to bring everybody's attention to, we'll go ahead and speak about Olivia Colman first. It says Olivia Colman's currently in talks to join Samuel L. Jackson and Marvel's Secret Invasion series. If I'm not mistaken, I believe Olivia Colman just wrapped up her time on The Crown, if I'm not mistaken. But it says the Oscar nominee is making her Marvel debut. She's been nominated in supporting actress this year for The Father and is in negotiations currently for Secret Invasion. So she is in negotiations. It says the show uses the events of Captain Marvel movie as a jumping off point and focuses on the ever popular secret agent Nick Fury, played by a returning Samuel L. Jackson, and a shapeshifter from the alien race known as the Skrulls. Plot details are being kept under wraps, but an infiltration of Skrulls on Earth figures into its proceedings. It is unclear currently who Coleman will currently play. So yeah, Coleman says won an Oscar for her work opposite of Emma Stone in The Favorite, and then she also played Queen Elizabeth in The Crown as well. So yeah, Olivia Colman certainly making her rounds here, continuing to let her presence being felt in Hollywood and on the big screen and small screen. So Olivia Colman has been tapped, or at least in negotiations, to join Secret Invasion. But Stuart, she's not the only star that's being brought on board. I mean, you talk about Marvel being able to pinpoint talent and keeping them around and bringing them on board. Here's another one, Stuart. Not only was Olivia Colman, but we also have ourselves, you guys will know her from her Game of Thrones fame, Emilia Clarke is in fact joining the MCU as she officially joins Marvel's Secret Invasion at Disney Plus. Also, she is also in final negotiations to join Secret Invasion, the hot original series quickly coming together at Disney Plus, and they're not kidding; it quickly is coming together. The Game of Thrones headliner's role is naturally under wraps and marks her first foray into the Marvel universe. She joined Samuel L. Jackson. I forgot Ben Mendelsohn Coleman was going to be in here. Kingsley Ben Adir is in here also, along with now the Olivia Colman as well. So Stuart, we've got some heavy hitters, man, that are joining this series. If I can be honest, when it comes to Olivia Colman, I'm honestly not that worried. I think she's going to do a brilliant job, honestly. I don't know who they're going to have her play. Maybe another S.H.I.E.L.D. agent, who certainly knows, or maybe even a Skrull, for who certainly knows at this particular point in time. But when it comes to Emilia Clarke, I'm really ready for her to just springboard off of her Game of Thrones fame. I know we've seen her in other things like Terminator. I believe she was also in another Disney Plus like Christmas romance movie or whatever the case may be. I just feel like some of the things that I've seen Emilia Clarke in outside of Game of Thrones just hasn't really hit me. I don't necessarily know if she's found her own footing in Hollywood for other really great roles that just kind of fit her really well. I mean, again, this is just me. Maybe you have personally seen her in something else that she really stands out to you, but outside of her work in Game of Thrones, she really hasn't captured me the way that I was certainly hoping that her career would kind of launch off in. So a part of me is really hoping that when it comes to the MCU here, when it comes to Secret Invasion, we have ourselves a really great storyline that they're probably going to tackle. You're putting her in the hands of Kevin Feige to certainly work with. I am kind of hoping that she finds sort of I don't want to say a rebirth in her career, because I don't feel like it's gone down the toilet or anything, but I do hope that she certainly finds herself in another franchise that is really going to catapult her and continue to keep her just sort of in the spotlight, if you will, because I do think that there's potential there. I just don't know if it's been fully pulled out of her yet since her Game of Thrones days. I mean, maybe it is all about whoever's directing and whatever the script certainly is, but when it comes to the MCU, I think we get some amazing work for some great talent all over the board. So I'm really, for me, I think when it comes to out of these two announcements, I'm not worried at all about Olivia Colman. I think she's going to bring it. It's really Emilia Clarke that I'm keeping my eye on, because you want to talk about picking up a great name. You definitely have done a great job in that with Emilia Clarke. Now, can she deliver? And I'm really hoping that they do something great when it comes to a Secret Invasion. But Stuart, you hear this news of Olivia Colman along with Emilia Clarke being cast in Secret Invasion. What are your thoughts? And do you have any suggestions or theories as to who they might certainly be? Let me know your thoughts on these casting choices.
So I'll start with Emilia Clarke first. I think she can be really good if she has a director that knows how to work with her. I say that because I did actually really like her in the movie Solo, but I don't think I've seen that many other movies with her in it, though, if I'm being honest. But yeah, Terminator Genesis, I thought she was absolutely terrible in that movie, but I wouldn't blame her because she wasn't the only good actor that was given a bad performance. Like, I think Jai Courtney was also really bad in that movie, but then, you look at him in Suicide Squad and he's actually really good. So I really just think that her performance in Terminator Genesis shouldn't reflect her as an actress. That's just, to me, that just came off as like there was nothing good in that movie, and the director clearly didn't know how to work with actors.
I'm glad you brought up Solo, though.
Yeah, because I really like her in Solo. And of course, I think everyone loves her in Game of Thrones. I mean, maybe no one liked her at the end of Game of Thrones, but that's the writer's fault. That's not her acting. She played that, perfect at the end, for sure. So yeah, like, I'm not too worried with her. It's all going to depend on who's going to be directing this series, which I don't think we've gotten an announcement for that yet. But yeah, so I'd say that if anything, I could see her playing either just, a random Skrull villain, or I could see her being like another agent that Nick Fury hired under the table that no one else knew about, type of a thing. So I could see it going either way. So I'm definitely looking forward to her. And then as for Olivia Colman, I feel like if you have someone like her in your movie, she's got to be either the main Skrull, like the main villain leading all the Skrulls, or she's got to play some kind of government authority who maybe isn't a scroll, but is constantly sabotaging everything for like the world, giving the scrolls like the more of an advantage, but she also is too stubborn to admit that she's wrong. So I feel like those are the two type of roles that she could play. Just because I look at like her IMDb page, so I've seen her in The Favorite, and I thought she was really good, but I never saw the TV show The Crown. But it looks like she plays another queen in that series, so I could definitely see her playing that type of role again, because I think that's what she's most known for, is playing like the evil kind of queen, I guess. Or just stuck up queen, I should say, not necessarily evil, but yeah. So I'd like to see if that ends up being what she brings to the table in this upcoming Secret Invasion series.
Yeah, I think both of those are both great roles that I think when you think of Olivia Colman, I can see her fitting into that. Like for me, like the Queen of the Scrolls, I mean, I could easily see that being a thing for her also. So that is fascinating. We'll see what happens with Olivia Colman, but yeah, man, she's got so much talent. I really did love her in The Crown. If you guys haven't checked that out, or at least want to continue to see more of Olivia Colman's work to see what she can bring to this series, definitely go ahead and check her out in The Favorite and in The Crown also. But I'm glad you brought up Solo when it comes to Emilia Clarke. For me, I do like Ron Howard as a director, and I did like her in that particular role. She didn't like jump out at me as this powerful actress when I watched her in the movie, but she definitely held her own in regards to I love the swerve at the end for her character, also being able to see that Emilia Clarke can definitely bring that I don't know, just bring those twists to a storyline and actually, portray those characters really, really well. So I did forget about her being in Solo, but so I am glad that you brought that up. But we'll see what happens when it comes to this. I'm hoping, when it comes to Nick Fury, I think in the comic books, he does have like his group of secret warriors that he winds up introducing. Characters. I think they were pretty much like heroes or characters that had pretty much been kept hidden. So to the point to where the scrolls weren't even aware of them. And so Nick kind of kept them close to his chest if he needed to put together a fighting armada against these scrolls that they couldn't necessarily copy, if you will. So I am wondering if Emilia Clarke might end up being one of those secret warriors, or another fellow agent that we maybe get introduced to. So I would be fascinated if she turns out to be Quake and they don't get Chloe Bennett. You know how many pissed off MCU fans are going to be out there, man?
Oh yeah, quite a bit. In fact, I was actually about to make a joke. Yeah, if Indy was here, he definitely would say, "Oh no, if they're going to use secret warriors, we're definitely getting characters from Agents of Shield coming back."
Yeah, I mean, listen, if there is any character I would love to see coming back, though, I would definitely love to see Chloe Bennett actually make a transition over to the MCU as far as the movies go. So we'll see what happens. But guys, you hear this news. Olivia Colman's been cast along with Emilia Clarke for Secret Invasion. The fact that we're getting these announcements makes me think that they are going full speed ahead in regards to putting together this series. So I feel like we'll probably be getting this series a lot sooner than I think we probably expect in regards to just the timeline of where all these movies and these series actually do line up properly. Because I think as of right now, while we do have a bunch of announcements as far as what's coming, I don't think we know the order as of yet for a lot of these future series and movies. So I would be kind of curious to see where Secret Invasion is certainly going to find itself plopped in between. You know what I mean, Stuart?
Yeah, well, I think for now we have an idea of everything that's coming out this year and next year. It's all the movies, like you said. After that, that's when we have no idea what the actual order is going to be for all of them. But what I'm hoping they do, just because they're announcing so many of them, I'm hoping it's going to be like kind of a consistent, as soon as one show is done, we get like maybe a week or two with nothing, but then the next show starts.
Yeah, I mean, right now with Loki, I think that starts in June, so we definitely have ourselves a little bit over a month time or so before we get into our next MCU thing. But yeah, it's Loki in June, Black Widow in July, and then we've got Shang-Chi in September. And if I'm not mistaken, I think What If drops in the summer also. So What If may drop in like August for all we know, man. I mean, there's a ton of Marvel that's certainly headed your way, guys. So it's just funny, Stuart. During the pandemic, it was DC that was hitting us with all these news and all this content and stuff. And we were like, Marvel, where are you at? And they're like, don't worry, we've been hoarding all of our stuff just to drop it on you in 2021 and 2022. So Marvel definitely making a ton of headway here and some fantastic content to kick off this year, guys. But we want to know your thoughts. What's your excitement level when it comes to Secret Invasion? Go ahead and let me know your thoughts. Jonathan Sanjuro says, what If is my most anticipated Marvel project. I got to agree with you, man. It's definitely up there for me in my list. I mean, just the art style looks incredible. I really want to see just some of the storylines that they certainly tackle, and the fact alone that they have the actual actors coming back to do the voices of their characters, I think is pretty brilliant, to be honest with you. How excited are you for What If? Like, where, as far as the Disney Plus series stuff, where does that rank for you?
Oh man, I don't know if I can rank it anywhere, just because there's so many Marvel projects. It's hard to really come up with a good ranking for where I would place each of them. But I am really excited for What If for sure. Like you said, them bringing back all the original actors to reprise their roles for voice acting them. I thought that's freaking awesome. And then on top of that, the animation looks really solid, which I think we all were expecting. But it's just also something that we might see in the movies later on, but there's no guarantee. So it's just always fun to look at what if scenarios. That it's always some of my favorite excuse me, not only comic books from Marvel, but also for DC with their Elseworlds comic books. It's always just kind of fun to explore those what if scenarios. So now that we have an entire MCU show dedicated to the what if side of things, I think it's going to be pretty awesome.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you there, Stuart. So, guys, again, we definitely want to know your thoughts. Let your thoughts be known in the live chat or the comment section box below, guys. And with that, we're going to go ahead and separate a little bit here from our Marvel stuff. We're going to get into more movie news for you guys today. Well, this is actually probably more, I don't even know if this is a movie or a series. I'm actually have to read this article in further detail to find out. But listen, guys, John Wick has done a marvelous job in creating a fantastic trilogy that I think a lot of us certainly would like to see more of. We definitely know that Keanu Reeves has plans on coming back for a fourth John Wick, but before the fourth John Wick winds up actually hitting us, we might actually have ourselves a little bit of a spinoff that's headed our way, guys. I feel like we've commented on this before in the past, that John Wick was having a spinoff, but now we finally have ourselves some details in regards to this upcoming spinoff titled The Continental, ladies and gentlemen. Let me go ahead and bring up this article for you guys here real quick. Let me see if I can get this here, and then we'll go ahead and dive into this. So this is from comicbook.com. John Wick spinoff, The Continental, details finally revealed, ladies and gentlemen. I don't know why they have a Marvel thing here for John Wick. Like, come on, guys. Let's get our stuff together. Let's see here. So it says, work is finally about to begin on the long-awaited John Wick spinoff series, The Continental, with Lionsgate Television in the midst of a major expansion effort. While production on John Wick Chapter 4 has yet to kick off with Keanu Reeves, and now looks like the series will not feature the actor's assassin when it finally debuts. Instead, the series will be set in the past as a prequel and will focus on the mysterious man who operates the safe haven, Ian McShane's character in Winston. While Reeves nor McShane will appear on screen in the series, they might have some involvement as a narrator. So it says the Lionsgate TV boss, Kevin Beggs, revealed new details about the Continental during a recent interview with Deadline. So it says during the discussion, he said that the John Wick spinoff would be set in the 70s. So we're also a prequel piece. That's a period piece also back in the 70s. And we'll focus on fleshing out the mythology of the franchise. So this is what he says, Stuart. He says, we took a lot of pitches, and then the creative team from this obscure little show called Wayne that was on a YouTube came to us with their take. We were really blown away because it solved a bunch of problems. It was super exciting about a crumbling New York in the 70s with a garbage strike. that has piled up bags of garbage to the third floor of most brownstones. The mafia muscling in on that business, which is why in The Sopranos he's in the sanitation business, and the other things that are really real as an interesting backdrop to explore the origins of the Continental, which is famously within the movie franchise, the Assassin's Hotel, in which you cannot kill anyone on the hotel grounds. But of course, if you step 1 foot off, you're fair game. And that's employed to great effect in many of the plots in the movies. Running all of that is Winston, who is played by Ian McShane. So it says what we're exploring in the Continental is a young Winston and how it came to be that he and his team of Confederates found their ways into this hotel, which we have met for the first time in the movie's franchise 40 years later. That's the arena. I won't give away more than that, but Starz really has leaned into this take also, and they've been great collaborators. And how we've approached this first season is as 3 essentially 90-minute events, which you can construe as a limited series or a limited event series. So even more details here, Stuart. 3 90-minute events. I'm assuming 3 90-minute episodes in a sense. So this will be a limited series taking place in the 1970s, focusing on a young Winston, played by, in the movie it's played by Ian McShane, but obviously they're going to be having themselves a brand new actor to go ahead and play a younger Winston here. But Stuart, you hear some of this news, man, in regards to what we're going to be getting from the Continental. Probably not quite, I think, expecting what a lot of us were. I think maybe some of us were maybe expecting a more current time period, maybe Keanu Reeves popping up in here. But clearly when it comes to Lionsgate and the creators behind this, they definitely have a story in mind that they definitely want to tell. So you hear this story concept. What's your thoughts in regards to this, Stuart?
I'm definitely surprised at how far back it goes. Like, I was actually expecting this to take place during, like, if not during the events of the movies, like maybe right before or right after. I definitely wasn't expecting it to go back to the 70s. But that said, I think the idea of exploring the origin of where the Continental Hotel came from is actually a pretty clever idea. Something I didn't think not that it's something I didn't think to tackle. It's just, I think what kind of made the Continental so unique within the movies is just kind of, you have no idea how this suddenly became like a hub where no one's like it's such a honorable thing that even assassins themselves know not to kill other people on it. To me, the kind of mystery of where a place like that comes from is kind of what adds to the uniqueness of that. So I feel like when you're going to write an origin story for it, you got to do a really good job. So that's the one thing that gets me kind of worried about the show, is that if it's not like an amazing origin story for the Continental, it's probably not going to hook me as much. But that said, there are a lot of other things that I really like about what the article says about the show. Again, with it being in the 70s and it being revolving around like the garbage strike, I think that's actually pretty unique, because that could... Cool. Yeah, because I feel like there's actually a lot you could do with that. So, for several reasons, like, not only do strikes like affect the people who are trying to get rid of their garbage, but it also affects the people who are on the strike, and probably, they can't go back to work because otherwise, of course, they're going to be seen as like a traitor for leaving the strike. And, they can't exactly stick with not having a job because they got to also pay for, food for their family. So, I can easily see how a bunch of people like that would end up having to resort to whatever crime kind of goes on in New York City. So I'm hoping that's like another aspect that they explore with that whole concept.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you. I love the idea of it being a very real life sort of situation, and them kind of taking that moment in history and plugging their own storylines into it to kind of help build off of the mythology of the Continental. So I'm really excited for it. One of the things too, I am interested in them focusing on a younger Winston, especially because of the fact that the way that we left John Wick 3 with Winston sort of backstabbing John and things like that, and you get to see this other side of this character, even though you've known him and John to have this really tight and close relationship with each other for years. You know, I would like to see a younger Winston and explored a little bit, because maybe it would add even more layers to that character, so that when we do go back and watch the John Wick trilogy, or even watch John Wick 3, maybe his turn on John is maybe explained a little bit more. Maybe we've seen past actions of Winston, you know what I mean? That might explain why he did certainly what he did to John at the end of the day, to really protect the Continental. So I am fascinated by this. Like the idea of Keanu Reeves, yeah, not being in it certainly is a bummer. But when you tell me the details of what you really do have in store, and it's only going to be 3 episodes, I'll definitely tackle it. I definitely will, because I do think it'll be really great lore building for the Continental, and even just continuing to build off of the world that the trilogy is kind of already set, which I feel like the movies already have at least showcased to us how large this world is. Even when they start going such things as like internationally in John Wick's 2 and 3, you get to see how big of a world it is. So to be able to kind of go back to the 70s and see how that assassin world might even have been included and played around with back in the 70s and things like that, I really would like to see how this kind of all came together. So I'm digging it. While I am bummed there's no Keanu Reeves, I do think the idea of focusing on a young Winston will definitely give us some great insight, not only into the Continental, but also maybe even his actions towards the end of that trilogy too.
Mm-hmm. And I'm also kind of wondering if we're going to get the main villain from the very first movie in this prequel as well, because he was decently old, but yeah, or not necessarily like the main villain from the first movie, but the guy who was like the dad of the son that stole John Wick's car.
Oh, yeah.
So if we get like his dad and we get like a young version of him, you could even actually, if they wanted to keep like the Game of Thrones actor, you just have the dad be played by the kid.
Oh, that's that's true too. You could definitely do that. Maybe even the Lawrence Fishburne character, that we see kind of on the rooftops with his pigeons and stuff. He seems like he's been in the game for a minute himself too. Maybe we get a younger version of him also. I'm fascinated by this John Wick world. I mean, what they've built in the movies alone have gotten me fascinated. So the fact that we're getting to explore a more prequel setting, I think is great, because for real, especially when it comes to the Continental, I think that really captured a lot of people's imaginations in the very first one, to even see how the assassins even have a home or find a home for themselves to kind of come here and respect it. So clearly the idea, like something that has had to have gone on here in the past, or some sort of big event. So I'm really interested to see what they create.
Yeah.
Oh, go ahead.
Huh? Oh yeah, no, I was just gonna say, yeah, because the world of John Wick, even though the story and John Wick himself is a really cool character, I think that's always what's fascinated me about the John Wick movies, is kind of like just the lore that they build around like this whole idea of like a society of like contract assassins and everything.
Yeah, like I would be interested to know, like, did that just start in the 70s? Has this been going on even prior to that? And now they decided that they need a place for their organizations, or for them to kind of all get together. I don't know, but I am interested. So for 3 episodes, 90-minute limited series, I'll take it. It'll definitely be a nice little holdover until I can actually get me some John Wick 4 that hopefully will be in development sooner rather than later. But guys, you hear this information in regards to more details for the Continental, the upcoming John Wick spin-off series. What are your thoughts about the idea of them going back to the 70s and focusing on a younger Winston? Definitely go ahead and let us know your thoughts in the live chat or the comment section box below after we wind up wrapping up. All right, guys, and with that, we're going to go ahead and tackle our next movie title for you guys, our next movie topic, I should certainly say. And this comes to us in the form of Sonic the Hedgehog, guys. That's right, the sequel is certainly coming. I have still not watched the first Sonic the Hedgehog movie. Stuart, is that on streaming anywhere? Do you know?
I can look that up now, actually.
Yeah, see if it's on streaming, because I it's about time that I watch me some Sonic the Hedgehog, because we've already been teased at the idea of getting Tails when it comes to Sonic 2 being in development. But guys, we may get Knuckles also. Knuckles may be coming also. It seems as though he may seemingly have been confirmed this past week. First off, while I definitely enjoyed the video games growing up as a kid. I think I maybe only really dabbled all the way up till about maybe Sonic 2 and maybe 3 a little bit. So Tails and Knuckles to me definitely are quite familiar, but I'm going to be interested to see if this actually does happen. But let's go ahead and bring this up, Stuart, and talk about this real quick here, because this comes to us from comicbook.com also, letting us know that Knuckles seemingly confirmed for Sonic 2. Let's go ahead. Oh, it looks like Jim Carrey's giving an interview here as Dr. Robotnik. So it says Paramount Sonic the Hedgehog 2 has started filming, and a leaked set photo may have confirmed the presence of Knuckles. The what? Echidna? I can't even pronounce that. In the upcoming sequel.
Kidna, yeah.
In the upcoming sequel, it says posted on Twitter, the image features a trio of props representing Sonic, Tails, and Knuckles at Fort Langley, where the movie is filming. Obviously, the characters will be CGI in the final film, but these props give the actors and crew an idea where the characters should appear. Tails' presence in the movie was teased in a stinger at the end of the first film, but Knuckles was not yet officially confirmed to appear. So this is the tweet that certainly has gone out. And you can see Knuckles right there as part of one of the props currently on set. I don't think they might have some other ones also. It says, unlike Tails, Knuckles did not appear in the first Sonic the Hedgehog movie, but was present early. But the tribe was present early in the film. Last year, the director Jeff Fowler confirmed to comicbook.com that the characters were meant to be the same species as Knuckles, but it's unclear whether or not there will be any kind of connection between them in Sonic the Hedgehog 2. It would make sense to have that connective tissue between the two films, as particularly since the characters were seen driving Sonic from his home. So based off of the props alone that they've seen on Sonic, the sequel, this is where they're getting their potential confirmation here for Knuckles. If you ask me, Stuart, I think this is as great as good enough as a confirmation as I needed, sir. You give me some Knuckles props, I'm probably going to think that he's probably going to be in this movie with Sonic 2. Do you think he's going to be introduced in here, Stuart? What are your thoughts, man?
Probably going to be introduced. Although, man, they're going out of order now. Knuckles isn't supposed to be introduced until the third game. God, have you guys never played Sonic? No, but all seriousness, yeah, it makes sense that they would want to introduce Knuckles because, yeah, like they mentioned in the article, they introduced like his species because there's like a bunch of like echidnas going after Sonic, and that's what causes them to have to leave his home world. So, yeah, my assumption, just because this seems to be the pattern in every single Sonic game ever, is Knuckles will be like the antagonist in this movie, and he'll be going after Sonic because he thinks that Sonic is evil because either the other echidnas or Dr. Robotnik convinced Knuckles that Sonic was evil. So he'll probably be like the antagonist in the beginning of the film until like realizing he was manipulated, and then he'll probably work with Sonic and Tails.
And there you go, guys. You don't have to watch Sonic 2 anymore because I think you probably just nailed it on the head there, Stuart. I would be perfectly okay with that. I mean, I love the idea of Knuckles because didn't he kind of come in as an antagonist in 3?
Yeah.
Exactly.
So
I think it would be a perfect foil for Sonic, and maybe he needs to even team up with Tails to try and sort of take him down until Knuckles winds up actually joining the crew itself. So I definitely think you're smack dead on as to what the plot of this movie certainly is. But I'm excited for this. I've always loved the design of Knuckles. I've always loved his attitude and his personality. So I think it's going to be a really great addition to this upcoming movie, honestly.
Something kind of unrelated to the movie itself, just, with Knuckles in general. When he was first introduced to like Sonic the Hedgehog in Sonic 3, or I guess Sonic and Knuckles, when you could officially play as him because you had to like combine the two cartridges and everything. Anyways, what I always loved about it is that if you play Sonic 3, you're gonna notice that there's like a lot of areas and different levels that you can't go to, and you realize because you can only go to those levels as Knuckles. So it is hilarious to me, like back in the day when Sonic 3 was like first released. The idea that this was a game so incomplete that you couldn't even fully explore the levels, and you had to have the attachment to fully get to know the experience of Sonic the Hedgehog 3. So it's just one of those kind of, even though I didn't have like a Sega Genesis, I always played like the Sonic games on PC. It was always just one of those nostalgic things for me with the old school Sonic the Hedgehog games, and being able to play as Knuckles was a very cool thing for me, because with Sonic 2 you could play as Tails, but he played exactly like Sonic. But Sonic 3 was like the first time you could not only play as another character, but they actually had completely different move sets as well. Like you could glide and climb walls with Knuckles, and then if you played as Tails, you could fly. Sorry, just Sonic always brings up the nostalgia in me, and I always gotta like talk about those games because I love them.
No, feel free to, man. Yeah, because I mean, while I definitely did play my Sonics 1s and 2s, I probably maybe dabbled just a little bit in Sonic 3. I think after Tails, after the second one, I think I kind of is where I started kind of falling off a little bit. So I did dabble a little bit in Sonic 3. But I think growing up as a kid, Vector Man was always my game of choice when it came to Sega Genesis. I always loved playing Vector Man on there back in the day. But I'm glad that Sonic definitely has a nostalgia factor for you. That's probably one of the reasons why, like, I still have yet to this day pick up like Sonic the Hedgehog to actually watch it, just because of the fact that while I have played it, it doesn't have that sort of nostalgia factor for me per se. But I have enjoyed the game growing up as a kid, so it definitely is something I'm gonna have to check out. So yeah, if you can find where I can find Sonic the Hedgehog, it's on Hulu.
Yep.
Okay, I'll go ahead and check out Hulu. Hopefully, I don't have to pay for it, but we'll see. We'll definitely have to see. But guys, listen, we want to know your thoughts. Do you see this prop of Knuckles coming up on the set of Sonic 2? Do you think that this certainly confirms Knuckle? I definitely think so. What about you, Stuart? You in that field too?
Yeah, I think it definitely confirms it, because I think they know that the press is going to be there taking photos of the set, and there's no way they would have like a Knuckles Echidna knowing that that was going to go online without like, and obviously if it goes online, people are going to be now expecting they're going to be expecting Knuckles in your movie. And if you don't deliver that, people are going to be automatically disappointed. So I feel like the prop department had to know that. So I feel like it was there on purpose so they could let the press tease the movie for them.
Hopefully they don't have to rework his design. I feel like maybe they learned their lesson in the first one too.
Yeah, hopefully.
So yeah, maybe this is their way of showcasing him to us without like giving us a crappy, design for him. But I think the design is going to be just fine. I think they learned their lesson in the first one. Everything that I've seen from the Sonic and Tails designs, it makes me think that they'll definitely get Knuckles right also. So we want to know your guys' thoughts. How excited are you to potentially see Knuckles in the upcoming Sonic 2 film? Definitely let us know your thoughts in the live chat or the comment section box below, ladies and gentlemen. And with that, Stuart, I think we have one more topic. We're actually going to make our transition over to the DC side of things. We're going to get into their cinematic universe and talk about a little upcoming movie, Stuart, by the name of The Flash. As we wind up getting further details, this is from The Wrap, letting us know that, Michael Keaton really is coming back to play Batman, ladies and gentlemen. There was some hesitancy, I believe, a couple of weeks back that came out. Some people might have interviewed Michael Keaton, and I believe based off of how COVID restrictions and everything that was certainly happening, I think he was a little bit hesitant to reveal his inclusion in this movie. But according to The Wrap, yes, he really is playing Batman. So it says here, after hesitating over COVID concerns, the actor joins the cast as UK production begins this week. So it says Michael Keaton's talent agency, ICMP Partners, actually confirmed that the actor will return as Batman in The Flash. It says the superhero film officially kicked off production in London on Monday, as revealed in an Instagram post from the director. It says, as The Wrap first exclusively reported, Keaton was in talks to return as the role of Batman after nearly 30 years to appear alongside Ezra Miller in the upcoming Flash movie. But Keaton set the fandom on fire last month when he hinted in an interview with Deadline that he might not do The Flash because of his concerns about COVID-19. But since then, his talent agency has confirmed that he will in fact be in this movie. So I thought it'd be interesting just to at least talk about this a little bit further. I mean, just first and foremost, I gotta say, Stuart, I'm thrilled that this movie's actually happening. We've been waiting for years, I feel like, for the Flash movie to actually be in front of the camera. It's had several setbacks, whether that be COVID, whether that be scripts, whether that be finding a director to go ahead and do this movie. But as I've said before, I'll believe it when I see it. When this movie is actually in front of the camera and being filmed, then I'll actually believe that this movie is certainly happening. I don't remember when The Flash was originally first announced, but it's been a few years. So the fact that this movie is now taking place and in production over in the UK just makes me happy, as giddy as can be, because of the fact that this really does feel like this is going to be that DCEU film that really just changes the landscape of what Warner Brothers is certainly doing with their expanded universe. So the idea that we're getting Michael Keaton returning, talk about a never say never sort of mentality here. Things that I never thought that I would get the opportunity to see again. Alfred Molina coming back as Doc Ock, Jamie Foxx as the Vulture, and you got to put Michael Keaton up there as Batman coming back 30 years later. I was not expecting this at all. I don't know how big of a role he's certainly going to play, because if I'm not mistaken, I think Ben Affleck's Bruce Wayne might be in this movie also. But I really would love to see Michael Keaton brought on board with this DCEU, whether or not they only use him for this one movie or they continue to bring him on board other DCU films or even spinoffs in the potential future. Stuart, I know you've been a big fan of maybe hopefully seeing a Batman Beyond maybe come to fruition at some point in time. Maybe this is our first kind of glimpse into seeing Michael Keaton sticking around the DCEU for a rather long time. Who certainly knows? But the fact that Michael Keaton's even coming back to play Batman is a miracle in and of itself. And I'm really excited to see what the script is going to go ahead and bring to us, and really how this movie is going to change the landscape. So I'm glad that those COVID fears are now gone. Hopefully Michael Keaton's got both of his COVID shots also, and hopefully no issues or hiccups when it comes to the production for this movie definitely going forward. But Stuart, you hear this, his talent agency has confirmed Michael Keaton is playing Batman in the Flash movie. We've heard this story for quite some time, but it's actually happening now. What's your thoughts in regards to this?
Well, firstly, I hope the talent agency confirmed with him before announcing it, because that'd be kind of funny. Like Michael Keaton's just like, yeah, I have some COVID concerns. Oh no, he's going to be in it. Don't listen to him. He's going to be in this movie, whether he wants to or not.
Exactly.
But yeah, with that being said, it really does sound like they're going to be going balls to the wall with this upcoming Flash movie. So I'm definitely excited to see my favorite live action Batman come back to reprise his role, even if it is just for a one-off movie or if we get more of him in the future. Either way, it's just going to be exciting to see him. It's also kind of interesting because I noticed in the article you mentioned that it was starting filming this week. Is that correct?
Yeah, I believe it said it started on Monday.
So this actually leads me to believe that they probably will have Grant Gustin, even if it is just a cameo. He might play some small role within the Flash movie, because they're currently, finishing up like the last 2 episodes of the Flash TV series.
Nice.
So that would give him like a perfect window of opportunity to have a small role within this film. Again, I'm not saying it's going to be a big role, but it would be cool to have him in as a cameo or something like that. So I am very curious and very excited to see where they go with that. But yeah, overall though, bringing back Michael Keaton as Batman, I do hope we get a scene with him and Ben Affleck together. So cool. I'm keeping my fingers crossed for that, just because I think Ben Affleck, even though I thought he was a great actor as Batman, like he could have been the best Batman, I feel like, within Batman v Superman, and then of course, the Joss Whedon Justice League, I kind of feel like I never got to see him as the Batman that I really wanted to see him be. So I'm hoping that this is like this final opportunity to finally see that Ben Affleck Batman that I've been wanting for a while. We came close with Justice League. We came close, But the thing with Justice League is that he got so little screen time, or he, not that he didn't get enough screen time, it's that he didn't really have any arc in that movie. So we just kind of saw him being like the assembler essentially, whereas like I feel like he had the least of an arc out of all the characters. So here I hope we get at least somewhat of an arc with him, and I hope we get to see him as the Batfleck that I know he can be.
Well, you never know, man, right? Because one of the things that they continue to emphasize is the idea of spin-offs out of these movies that they're kind of establishing. So people have been asking for a Ben Affleck Batman movie, maybe even a series based off of the script, right? Maybe that's something that winds up coming out of this Flash movie, if you will. I personally would love to see Ben Affleck and Michael Keaton on screen together as their own versions of Bruce Wayne. I think that would be just movie magic, honestly. But who knows what happens with Michael Keaton? Maybe we get a glimpse of this and we like it so much that they do create a Batman Beyond sort of spinoff for HBO Max or a movie or something along those lines. I just hope that there is a spinoff that comes out of this movie, because I mean, we've already got the Peacemaker coming out of Suicide Squad. We got the Gotham Police Department coming out of the Batman movie. It would just be kind of shocking if the Flash didn't spin something out of it. And then also on top of this, Stuart, I mean, you talk about just how balls to the walls Warner Brothers is getting. We got Sasha Calle, who's going to be playing Supergirl in this movie also, right? So this could also give Supergirl a movie at some point in time also. I mean, they're definitely going out of their way to just do something really spectacular and really amazing. And I'm hoping that it hits everything that we want. And for me, when it comes to Michael Keaton, I can see why he's your favorite Batman sort of like of all time, or just the iteration of Batman. He was mine for a really long period of time also, until I wind up seeing Ben Affleck. But so for me, I have no doubt that when it comes to a fantastic actor like Michael Keaton, he's going to fit that Bruce Wayne and Batman mold like he hasn't missed a day in 30 years. I have a feeling he's truly just going to fall back into form. And for me, with somebody like Ezra Miller and just that type of personality that he has, that he comes across with as Barry Allen, I think that's going to be just a fun sort of interaction for him to see a different Batman that he's not familiar with at all, and just to kind of see what Michael Keaton sort of brings to the table. I think that should be pretty fun for Barry Allen to definitely have to experience.
As for let me specify what I meant. He's my favorite live action Batman. My favorite Batman goes to Kevin Conroy.
Oh, okay. I gotcha. And I really do hope that we see a Grant Gustin in here that you brought up. They did such a good job of the showrunners for Flash working with Andy Muschietti, the writers for the Flash movie. The fact that they were able to get along and collaborate so well to have that Grant Gustin and Ezra Miller moment in Crisis on Infinity Earths, it makes me think that they probably have something like that even more in store for us. So I would not be surprised if Grant Gustin does come back and reprise his role in this Flash movie, or if they even show us sort of that same those same shots and those same scenes, but specifically from Ezra Miller's point of view. So I wouldn't be surprised if they just reuse that, because when you watch Crisis, that particular shot is actually shot very much widescreen, very much cinematic. So I am kind of curious if they literally just ripped that footage out of the Flash show and put that into the Flash movie for a brief period of time to really get Grant Gustin on there. I really would love that.
That would be really cool, because I could see that exact footage working really well within that movie. The other way they could go about it, and I think it would be absolutely hilarious, is if there was a scene in Justice League Unlimited where they're time traveling, and because the main villain is constantly going through different time periods, the timeline is always shifting, so things all around him is constantly changing. So you had a brief moment where mid dialogue, John Stewart's Green Lantern turns into Hal Jordan Green Lantern. Everyone just looks at him like, what the heck? He's like, whatever, it's just a time shift, let's just keep going. It would be kind of fun if we got something like that, where you had Ezra Miller's Flash turn into Grant Gustin's Flash, but still in the Ezra Miller costume. And then just like, everyone's like weirded out for a second, and then he's like, whatever, it's just a time shift. Let's keep going. And then he just turns back into Ezra Miller. I think something like that could be absolutely hilarious.
I definitely do think they're going to have some fun with it. So I am really looking forward to this movie. I mean, they've got so many so much great talent already attached. So many great heroes and characters that are going to be popping up in here. And again, if this is going to be based off of the Flashpoint storyline, we really could be having ourselves a whole new DCEU after this hopefully milestone of a movie. So we'll definitely keep you guys posted as we get further Flash movies. And of course, I'm sure we'll probably get some set details and some set photos and all that good stuff that winds up trickling out.
Who would, before we move on, who would you personally cast as the Reverse Flash?
You know, one of the fan theories out there that I've been seeing that I'm kind of hooked on is the guy from The Boys that plays Homelander. I can't remember his name off the top of my head, but anytime that I see him now, that's who I think of as Reverse Flash.
Mm-hmm.
Just because the fan theories have just really gotten to me now.
Yeah, I gotta agree with that. He honestly, I feel like he could fit that role so perfectly. So yeah, I think currently he would be my number one choice as well.
Yeah, I mean, I'm open to anybody as long as they're a really solid actor, but I just know based off a lot of the fan theories that I've seen and them really pushing for him, I'm like, yeah, you know, I'll take him. Why not? I think he'd be good in it, especially just based off of his character from Homelander and just the switch that he can flip. Like, I could just easily see that for a Reverse Flash guy for sure.
Definitely.
But guys, listen, we want to know your thoughts. You hear this that the talent agency of Michael Keaton confirms that he certainly will be in The Flash as Batman. What's your level of excitement in regards to this? What would you personally maybe want to see from Michael Keaton as Batman in this movie? Definitely let us know your thoughts in the live chat or the comment section box below, ladies and gentlemen. And with that, Stuart, I think that actually wraps up all of our main titles today, but if anything, we will now dabble into some of your guys's live honorable mentions, your guys's live viewer questions. So we will get into your live viewer questions, and then of course maybe we'll tackle some comments before we actually wrap up this day. So let's see here. Go over to our YouTube page. We actually have quite a few. Let's see here. Jessica Friedman, she's got a couple questions. Hey, is there word on when Harley Quinn and Young Justice are coming back? And would you like to see, I'm assuming Kate Kane meet Ryan one day? So I haven't heard any word on Young Justice on when that's coming back. I know that there will be a season 4 called Phantasms or something like that. So I know they're working on that, and no word yet on Harley Quinn. I know they've got 3 seasons, Stuart? Is that 3 seasons of Harley Quinn on HBO Max already?
Currently 2. The third one is in development. But yeah, as for both Young Justice and Harley Quinn, there's no news on them yet. And I think that just comes down to they don't want to give the animators a deadline because, you know, when you have a deadline, then you're forced to cut corners. I feel like for both those shows, they want the animators to get as much done as possible, you know, just so it ends up being a much more polished product at the very end instead of it being like a rushed mess.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you there. She also asked, do you think Kate Kane and Kate Kane and Ryan will meet one day?
I think so, because like they've shown that she's still alive. I haven't watched the last few episodes of Batwoman. I've kind of fallen off the show, but I'll probably binge it once they finish with their second season. But yeah, last I checked, she was still alive, and they did announce like a new actress to play her. So yeah, we'll definitely see the two of them meeting at some point.
I hope so. I would like to see that. I think it would make sense, honestly, for the I think it would make sense just for the character and just for the storyline that they've had. If anything, maybe just the idea of Kate Kane passing on the torch, or at least, you know, just I don't know. I mean, I feel like Ryan's probably already established herself as Batwoman, but just the idea of having the previous Batwoman at least recognize you, you know what I mean? I think would go a long way, even if it isn't necessarily Ruby Rose. Speaking of which, I did read this article, Stuart, in regards to Superman and Lois being made available for streaming on HBO Max for a limited time. Comic book was it resources.com says you can stream the first few episodes of Superman and Lois, but not for long. The first 5 episodes of the CW series are currently available to stream on HBO Max, but only for a limited time. Announced on the inside HBO Max Twitter account, new episodes of Superman and Lois will return May 18th. So the show will only be available on streaming until Monday, May 17th. So yeah, guys, if you guys have not had the opportunity to check out Superman and Lois, the first 5 episodes are available on HBO Max until Monday, May 17th. So, because you mentioned the idea of having to catch up on Batwoman, I think there's like maybe 2 episodes of Superman and Lois I have to catch up on. So, I probably will be watching it on HBO Max.
Yeah, here it is. All 5 episodes that have been released so far for season 1.
Nice. Get to watch it in perfect quality. Mwah.
Yes, without ads too.
Without ads, that's right. Jessica Fryman also says, would you like to see one of the Arrow versus Heroes crossover with another CW show? And would you like to, and hold on, and would and I'm assuming, what would you like to see going forward in Superman and Lois once it comes back? So once it comes back, Superman and Lois, Stuart, what are you looking forward to hopefully seeing?
Once Superman and Lois comes back, man, I am looking forward to seeing more backstory with Captain Luthor. I won't spoil what happened just because you said that you haven't watched the last.
Yeah, I missed like the last two episodes. Yeah.
There is a big thing that gets revealed about his backstory at the end of episode 5 that I'm really excited to see what it leads to, what kind of inner drama and that kind of stuff. It's fantastic.
Okay. I'll definitely look forward to that then. Let's see here. I know she did have one other question. Would you like to see one of the Arrowverse Heroes crossover with another show on the CW? Okay,
I see what you mean.
I was okay. For a second, I thought it was like the idea of a Arrowverse hero on another Arrowverse show, but she's saying Arrowverse hero on a CW show. I
got 2.
Go ahead.
That would be funny.
I haven't watched this show at all, but I feel like there might be a connection. Maybe Black Lightning, Jefferson Pierce on All American. I feel like Indy pushes that show all the time, and while I haven't sat down and watched it, I think that would probably be a pretty fitting collab. What else do you got though?
So based on the Painkiller pilot that we got, and just seeing how much Khalil can really kick a lot of ass, and seeing that there is now a new martial arts show coming to the CW called Kung Fu, I'm like now kind of thinking, I'd love to see Khalil like in an episode of this show now.
I dig it.
The other one, this one, I actually mean this would be really cool to see. Like, and I mean this unironically. I would love Stargirl to do like a crossover with the Powerpuff Girls as soon as that show comes to the CW.
Yeah, I don't know why I was thinking Batwoman too. Like, I wouldn't mind seeing Ron Wilder mix it up with the Powerpuff Girls. Heck, maybe we can have Stargirl and Batwoman show up on the Powerpuff Girls. I think those would be some really great collabs. I love the Stargirl and Powerpuff Girls one, man. That's a great one.
I think Batwoman being on Powerpuff Girls would be actually even more funny, just because I'm imagining that the Powerpuff Girls show is supposed to be super lighthearted and everything. So you take a character from Gotham and you put them in Powerpuff Girls. I could see that leading to a lot of really funny. Like, I mean, that
might make for a great team up between her and Buttercup. Like, I feel like Buttercup has like a dark soul to her. You know what I mean? Like, I think she would really dig the idea of a Batwoman. So that'd be pretty cool. But great answers, Stuart. Great answers. This comes from Marcelino Vasquez. Marcelino coming through his questions. He got 3 questions or comments. The first one's a little bit long, but he says, is there a movie or a TV show that you personally are not the biggest fan of, but you always find yourself defending it because you think it gets too much hate? For example, I don't like the 2nd season of Batwoman, but even when the first trailer for the show dropped, I saw a lot of people in the comment section and other videos calling Batwoman sexist towards men because people complained about lines like, "I'm not letting a man take woman's credit," or things like that. He says, I'm like, okay, that's going too far. It's not trying to be sexist towards men. And even if it was, it's not like the writers or producers intended it to be sexist towards men. They have good intentions. So is there a movie or TV show that you personally are not the biggest fan of, but you find yourself defending because you think it gets too much hate?
I'd actually, it's funny because yeah, Batwoman is probably the example that I'd use. Like currently, I'm not really the biggest fan of season 2, but like the type of people that are bashing it and the reasons that they're bashing it is what makes me constantly want to defend it. Because it's like these aren't good reasons to not like a show. This is just your like either homophobia or even racism, like just kind of kicking in and just kind of like you're really bashing it for the wrong reasons if that's it. But I do think that, yeah, it's not my favorite show, but anytime like I see those kind of YouTubers bashing it, I'm like, come on, guys.
I'm trying to think if there like a movie that I don't like. That's the problem, is the fact that I feel like I defend the movies that I do like. I'm trying to think as far as a movie that I don't like that I find myself defending.
I did defend Rise of Skywalker for a little bit, but I think that was more because like I wanted to convince myself that I liked it more than I did. So I defended that movie more than I probably should have, if that counts as an answer.
Yeah, part of me was I was trying to think of like a Star Wars movie that I might not have been the biggest fan of. Like I find myself defending The Last Jedi a lot. While I like the movie, I'm not the biggest fan of it. Like there are elements of the movie that I really do enjoy. Other aspects that I crap on myself. So I do find myself maybe defending the Last Jedi to a certain extent. Rise of Skywalker, though, no, I'm not even gonna try and convince myself that I like that movie. So no, but maybe the Last Jedi. But again, that's a movie that I go back and I do enjoy it to a certain extent. He also says this is not a major gripe, just more of a personal wish list. Originally, I thought a missed opportunity in this Snyder cut was for Zack Snyder to contact one of the actors from Shazam and Birds of Prey and put them in the nightmare scene. That way, the entire DC EU feels more connected, but I understand why it never happened. Yeah, I mean, I think based off of just what Snyder's vision certainly was for his movie, I can understand the idea of not putting them in there, like you mentioned. So I definitely understand for sure. But I think that would be kind of cool, Stuart. Like, whether that be somebody from Birds of Prey. I don't necessarily know if I would get Zachary Levi to reprise his role as Shazam, but maybe somebody from the Shazam family, one member there, and then maybe one member of the Birds of Prey. I think that would have actually been a pretty cool little addition for some of the additional scenes that he did film. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I don't know which character from Shazam I would have used, just because
Me
I
either.
feel like it would have, unless you were making it into an entire movie, I don't see like Shazam himself working for that small period of time, especially when it's like your biggest threat is Superman, and Shazam is the one that could actually probably go toe to toe with Superman.
If I did have to pick, I would probably the one out of the Shazam family that probably jumped out at me from the movie was probably the little girl, the young girl that transforms. I think she's got like the purple costume on. I wouldn't mind seeing her in the nightmare sequence, just because of the fact that she's so young and fun loving. She's got this bubbly personality to her. I really would like to see how that's kind of changed her over time, and just to kind of see what that added dimension would bring to that group that they put together.
But from Birds of Prey, yeah, I could definitely see, like, personally, I would love either Renee or why am I forgetting her name? Sorry, Diana. No, it wasn't Diana.
Black Canary.
Black Canary. Yeah, but I'm trying to think of what her name was.
Was it Dinah?
Was it Dinah? Dinah Lance? Yeah, I think so.
I can't remember off something.
They
did reference her mom in the movie as being a prior vigilante or something along those lines. So, yeah, I do get the mom and daughter's name mixed up from time to time.
Either way, I would love to have Black Canary totally like in that sequence. I think that would have worked.
I think that would work too.
the reason I think it didn't happen personally, it kind of goes back to an old interview with Zack Snyder when someone asked him why Grant Gustin wasn't cast to play the Flash, and he kind of has like this idea that characters have to be very consistent with within that world. They have to all have they all have to feel like, even outside of the movies that he makes, that they have to feel consistent within that movie, if that makes sense. I probably worded that terribly, but in other words, like a movie like Shazam, I don't think Zack Snyder would ever see that as canon to his universe, because it's not tonally, it's nowhere near the same. And even the same thing with the Harley Quinn series, tonally it's very different from his movie. So I feel like I don't think Zack Snyder would see it as canon. So that's why I don't think he utilized
He decided to do that.
characters.
It could be for sure.
Yeah.
And then last but not least, from Marcelino, he says, whenever there is a movie or TV show that has a lesbian kiss or sex scene, do you ever get infatuated? Yes. Who doesn't like watching two women kiss? I mean, come on, guys. Let's be real here. No, I mean, it's just a sexual act. I mean, hey, it is what it is. I'm cool with it. I'm down.
Yeah.
Let's see here. Doomsday says Doomsday's got a couple questions for us. He's got 3. Besides Iron Man and Captain America, which Avenger were you cheering for the most during Endgame's end credits? Ooh, during the end credits. I mean, damn, can you cheer any louder for Iron Man and Captain America? Damn. Who in the end credits, who else were you cheering for?
I loved Thor, honestly, throughout Endgame. I actually thought his arc was one of my favorites, and because like not only did it add comedy, but you also did feel really sorry for this guy, because you can definitely see how much of a failure he feels like, and how like the one time he had a chance to make it all right, realized it was too little too late because Thanos already destroyed the stones. So that moment when he just finishes Thanos off and just feels so defeated, I loved it. Yeah. So he was my favorite character in Endgame.
Well, I know it says the most during the Endgame end credits.
End credits.
So
Yeah.
I am wondering if based off of I guess when his name pops up, I'm assuming. Okay, I get you.
So yeah, probably when his name popped up, that's probably where I would cheer the most inside.
Man, if I can't pick from I don't want to pick from Thor because you already mentioned it. I probably would give Black Widow some shine.
All right.
Yeah, I definitely was thrilled for Scarlett Johansson. One, I was just bummed to see her go. I feel like I just cheered for all of them, honestly. I mean, clearly everybody cheers for Iron Man and Captain America because of the impact that they have definitely had. But if I don't want to say Thor, because I'm sure he was probably my third that I cheered, then next up would probably have been Black Widow. I do love me some Mark Ruffalo as the Hulk, but I just love what Scarlett Johansson has just brought to that role from the very beginning, from Iron Man 2, and just seeing how her character has grown, how much I personally even fell in love with her from The Winter Soldier. Like, my God, Scarlett Johansson is just so fine in that film. But for me, like I felt like outside of the Iron Man movies, that movie Winter Soldier really gave her a lot more character and personality, and just to kind of see the dilemma that she was in when it comes to something like an Endgame, or wanting to bring back her friends in Clint, and the sacrifices that she certainly made. Scarlett Johansson for me as Black Widow. Doomsday says, don't you think that Infinity War would have been 10 times better if Quill took his anger out on Thanos when the gauntlet was off? I mean, I don't know if it would have made the movie 10 times better, but it's something that I would have loved to have seen. I can tell you right now, it would have made this movie shorter. We wouldn't have gotten Endgame. So to a certain extent, I think everything happens for a reason. I don't know if they take off the gauntlet, if Infinity War is as good as it is, and just ends right there. As pissed off as I am to this day that Quill just gives into his anger, I'm always going to give Quill shit for his actions here, okay? Because he caused a lot more of a headache than we even needed to. All right, caused 5 years of anguish for people. It's on you, Quill. That's on you. So for me, no, I don't think it would have made the movie better. I think the movies are brilliant the way that they certainly are. Just because of the fact that I have animosity towards Quill still doesn't mean it would have made the movie any better. You know what I mean? So I don't think so. What about you though, Stuart?
I mean, I think the implication that Doctor Strange saw millions of different possibilities and like only one where they succeed kind of implies that even if they had gotten the gauntlet off of Thanos, Thanos still would have been like, yeah, well, I'm still 10 times stronger than all of you without the gauntlet, so I'm just gonna take it back.
Yeah. It probably wouldn't have even mattered if they did, right? So yeah, I definitely get you there.
And I think like the whole thing with Infinity War is that Quill wasn't the only one who messed up. It's just that his mess up was like the most obvious in your face type of thing. But we also got to look at the fact that Tony Stark had a whole like moment where he was debating with himself about whether or not he should call Captain America, which prevented the whole Avengers from being able to work together. You also just the fact that the Avengers were even split up to begin with, and of course the main one, Thor, not going for the head because he was so pissed and filled with rage that he wanted Thanos to suffer.
Yeah, there's definitely a lot of blame to go around, but I don't know why there's still that personal animosity I have towards Quill. Like, of all the people,
most in your face, yeah.
Maybe it was. It's like, damn it, you're so close. What are you doing?
It was the most obvious one, yeah. And the fact that you even had, Tony Stark himself,
everybody's
that, like,
pleading.
We almost got this off.
It's just they talk about just building the emotion up to that particular moment. I thought they did a brilliant job at it. Like, that's the one that just continues to stick with me. Like I know it probably wouldn't have mattered if they did get the gauntlet off, but it's just the premise of it. Like, damn it, Quill, you had one thing to do, man, and you couldn't do it. One job to do, bro. But a good question, Doomsday. Last question from him: which first Spider-Man movie do you think was better? Spider-Man 2002, Sam Raimi's, The Amazing Spider-Man with Andrew Garfield, or Spider-Man Homecoming? Fuck.
That's okay. The reason that is a tough question for me is because when it comes to Sam Raimi's Spider-Man, I feel like there's a lot more cringe moments in those movies. But at the same time, the moments that are good are really good, and they still choke me up today. Whereas Tom Holland's Spider-Man, while there are definitely some amazing moments in that movie, I don't think any of them come close to the Sam Raimi Spider-Man. But at the same time, I don't think I ever really cringe watching Spider-Man Homecoming or Spider-Man Far From Home. So I got to admit, it's kind of a tie for me between Sam Raimi Spider-Man and, Tom Holland Spider-Man.
All three of these are good movies. Enjoyable movies, solid movies. Even though we only got 2 out of Andrew Garfield, the first Amazing Spider-Man movie I thought was really enjoyable. I really enjoyed it. Sam Raimi's classic. But you know what, Stuart? I'm going to go Spider-Man Homecoming here. One, Tom Holland, I think, is just a great Peter Parker and Spider-Man. Michael Keaton first giving us a Vulture, a new villain that we had never seen in previous Spider-Man movies. I thought Michael Keaton did a fantastic job. That reveal of him being the father just, I think, shocked everybody, or at least gave me goosebumps. Like, to this day, it still does. Just that interrogation from the father to Peter, asking the questions like just before prom and stuff. Them being able to
light with that scene too.
yeah, absolutely. Like, just how it played, I just beautiful cinematography, and then also just the idea of them being able to capture one of Spider-Man's epic moments from the comic books of when he's trapped and he's got to get himself out and he's going to get drowned and he lifts the rubble off of him and stuff. I mean, just all the fantastic moments that they were able to capture, from really sinking their teeth into just the high school vibe, right? That's that Steve Ditko and Stan Lee sort of vibe of all these supporting characters. Tom Holland just fitting that role perfectly. I gotta give my hat to Homecoming on this one. This is a tough one, man, because I'm like you. If there were a top 2, it would be Homecoming and Sam Raimi's. But man, I gotta go Homecoming on this one. So yeah, I'll go that route.
Although I just realized, technically, Into the Spider-Verse is the first of a series. So am I allowed to change my answer and have that be my answer?
I mean, I will allow it. I will call a technicality on this one.
All
I will
right.
allow that one.
In that case, Into the Spider-Verse would be my pick.
All right, here we go. We got two more groups of questions. This is from AJ. What did you guys think of the Shang-Chi trailer? And is he really the first Asian superhero, even in the comics? I don't know if he was in the first Asian superhero in the comics. He might have been though. Do you know, Stuart? Let me see. We might
Maybe
have
for
to do some.
Marvel. Let me actually look that up.
Yeah, it says Shang-Chi first made his appearance back in 1973. Oh, well,
Oh,
that may not
okay.
be the answer though. Hold on. Um, yeah, it says first Asian Marvel superhero. I don't know if anybody came prior to that. List of Asian superheroes. Oh, I mean, gosh, I'm sure there's so many. Holy crap! I'm sure there's probably so many. So I can't even answer that question if he really was the first Asian superhero.
It's the
I
answer Google's given me, so I'm going
yeah,
to for now assume
I'm
yes.
assuming that it is. Have you seen the actor Simu Liu? He was on the popular Korean Canadian series Kim's Convenience. Yes, I have seen him on the show. I do like his role in there. I will say this: Kim's Convenience. I tried to watch it with a girlfriend the first time, and I wasn't quite sure how to take the series at first. The series definitely focuses on an Asian perspective, an Asian point of view, if you will. And it is interesting, especially the very first episode, to kind of see how they tackle um, societal norms, if you will, from an Asian perspective. I think they talk a little bit about homosexuality. I think in the first episode, mixed in. I think they were having like a gay pride parade or something like that. And Kim's Convenience, the guy that runs the store, doesn't fully understand the idea of like somebody being gay or not being gay, or how can you tell somebody's gay type of thing, right? Like it definitely makes you feel like, for me, it made me feel a little bit awkward watching the first episode, like a little uncomfortable, but then when you start seeing Kim's sort of point of view and his perspective of that, they're really not out here to try and that they're not making fun. It's so much as they are trying to understand and understand other cultures and things like that. And for me, I guess because of the fact that I'm mixed and I'm half black and half Puerto Rican, I have my own perspectives and my own viewpoints on certain things. So to be able to see it from an Asian perspective, I don't necessarily know how that would make other people feel, but like for me, the first episode or two definitely made me have to get comfortable with it and understand sort of their sense of humor and their sensibilities and things like that, to where I really wind up enjoying what I wind up watching. And I thought it was actually a really fresh take on a more modern show. And so I'm really glad that the Asian community has a show like Kim's Convenience that really highlights kind of their point of view and perspective. But have you seen Simu Liu in anything else?
I
Have you watched
haven't.
Kim's Convenience?
No. Is this show on any streaming website right
I
now?
want to say it's on who I want to say it's on Netflix.
Okay.
Is where I wind up watching it. But it says while running a convenience store in Toronto, members of a Korean Canadian family deal with customers, each other, and the evolving world around them. So they really have some really great relationships with one another. You get to see maybe like a Korean family, their heritage, how their kids are raised and things like that. So it very much is a comedy. But again, it's the idea of them dealing with customers, their family. And I love the fact that even in the synopsis, evolving world around them. So episode one is a really perfect example of that, of them trying to understand the world around them type of thing. I think it's a really great storytelling.
And then where does the show take place?
It says Toronto. It's in Canada.
Oh, okay, okay, cool,
Yeah, it takes
cool.
place. So I believe it's produced out there too.
Yeah, I might
Um,
check this show out. Oh, it's on Netflix. Okay, so I might check out the first couple episodes because it sounds interesting.
Yeah, it is pretty interesting. AJ also says, "What did you guys think of the Falcon and Winter series so far? And do you think we'll get a season two? Any chance we'll see Chris Evans back as Cap?" Um, I am keeping my fingers crossed for a season two. I mean, they have announced something even better, which is a Captain America 4. So I am really looking forward to seeing Anthony Mackie take up that mantle again as Captain America in his own movie, really just solidifying his role as Captain America to me here in this particular series. As far as seeing Chris Evans back as Cap, one of the things that we talked about in the finale was that for me, I'm always for the idea of Chris Evans wanting to return to the MCU. But if he decided not to, I feel like Anthony Mackie has given us more than enough reason as to why he should be our Captain America going forward for hopefully a long future. I really hope so. That doesn't mean that Chris Evans can't come back. There is an old Steve Rogers kind of storyline that maybe they can kind of tackle for Chris Evans if he wanted to come back. Maybe there's a Hydra Cap storyline that they could focus on if they certainly wanted to. We still even have this Secret Invasion storyline that we haven't really talked about yet. There is a theory that Captain America might be on the moon. We've heard that theory several times in this series. I'm very much a believer in that theory. It might be a conspiracy theory in the show, but I tend to be a conspiracy theorist from time to time on certain things. And this is one that I fully fledged do think that one of the reasons why they haven't mentioned Steve Rogers really in this show, or that we talked about even last week, Stuart, is Steve Rogers dead? The way that they talk about him in third person, like he's not around, that they can't just contact or communicate with this guy. One of the questions I had was, is Steve Rogers dead? But now I'm starting to think, is Steve Rogers on the moon? Like, could he just be on a secret mission working with Nick Fury somewhere? A covert mission, an operative? Who certainly knows? I mean, the world probably thinks that he's dead at this point. So I do think that there is a world where Chris Evans does come back, where he doesn't have to necessarily take that shield away from Anthony Mackie. So I hope that's the route that they go. But I think Anthony Mackie has earned his title as Captain America for quite some time. Well, what about you, Stuart? Any chance you think we get to see Chris Evans back as Captain America or any role?
I honestly don't really want him to come back because if the actor wants to, cool. But at this point, we've done such a great job of establishing, Sam as the new Captain America. And I feel like if there was any other moment for him to ever make an appearance, it should have been during the series finale, I should say, of Falcon and the Winter Soldier, just to kind of like come in and say, hey, I'm proud of you guys, and then leave or something like that. So, since they didn't do that in that series, I don't really think there's a need for him to really come back at all. I think the mantle's been passed. He had great closure in Avengers Endgame. I don't think we really need anything new from him. I think we can all let him retire and let Sam be the new Captain America.
I will agree with you there, Stuart. For me, it is one of those things. Again, if Chris Evans wants to come back and Marvel wants to bring him back, I'm perfectly okay with it. But yeah, one of the things that I definitely would agree with you is that, do we even need him to come back? I don't know if that's even a question we would have asked before Falcon and the Winter Soldier wind up dropping, right? I think a lot of people probably would have wanted to see Chris Evans return as Captain America. I'm sure that there was a huge push for fans to please come back, please come back. But now that we have seen Falcon and the Winter Soldier and what's Anthony Mackie has done as Sam Wilson, for me, that kind of answers all the questions that I need, right? After seeing this, I feel Anthony Mackie is fully capable of carrying that mantle in the MCU forward on his shoulders if that's what's being asked of him. So does Chris Evans need to come back? I don't think he does, but if they wanted to, I think there are some potential storylines he could certainly tackle. So I'm probably right there with you in general, Stuart.
Yeah, if he came back into Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness as an evil Captain America, I'm all for that. Or Captain America written by Rob Liefeld type of Captain America, I'm all for that.
Nice, nice. We'll definitely have to see. But yeah, as far as the second season, we'll keep our fingers crossed. I'm hoping for Captain America 4 and a second season of Captain America and the Winter Soldier. So we'll see if that actually comes to fruition. But we'll keep you guys posted. His last question is, what did you think of Mortal Kombat? I saw it on Friday and it was fantastic. So cool seeing Ludi Lin as a mentor, and he and and him all ripped. Yeah, Ludi Lin put in that work when it came to getting ready to play play his role here in Mortal Kombat. So I was really thrilled to see how they utilized him in this series, in this movie, honestly. But as far as like Mortal Kombat goes, I enjoyed it for what it was. You know, some of the dialogue, a little bit questionable. Some of even the storyline aspects, a little bit questionable. Like some of the Shang Tsung stuff that we wind up seeing, like them in the other world or whatever, like him gathering his fighters and having these meetings and then trying to infiltrate, you know, Earth realms, training and stuff. It did feel a little bit unpolished and all over the place. You know, Stuart, this was the fear that I had though, going into this movie. The idea of first time writers, first time directors, as cool as the trailers were and as much as the action hit home, right? I mean, I don't think any of us go into a Mortal Kombat movie expecting an Oscar nominated film, but I do think that you can feel first time writer, first time director in this movie. Would you agree?
Yeah, I'd say one of the biggest problems with the film is, I expected to at least really connect with some of the characters, but I found that it was difficult because the most interesting characters weren't giving all the enough screen time. Instead, we're focused so much on Cole, who was probably the least interesting out of all the characters that we get in the movie, and he also gets the most screen time out of everyone in the film. So I feel like that kind of is what held it back from reaching its true potential, and I didn't mind that the story was as basic as it was. I just, I kind of wish we had like I don't know, I wish it had a little bit more of a, it's really hard to explain. Like, it felt like everything just moved along because the plot wanted it to. Like, with the main character just only once in the entire movie really questioning anything, because besides that, he's just so casually going along with everything. It's just, like, I get that they were probably trying to make him feel like a video game character, so that way the audience has someone they could put themselves into. But, just because he's supposed to be that type of character, that doesn't mean you can't, like, just leave him personality-less. You still have to have him question what's going on. You still have to ask, give him a personality or something. I think, I don't mind a boring, bland character. The problem is that he was kind of what moved the story forward, and it made it like really hard to care.
Yeah, no, I definitely would agree with you there. Like for me, I did love the Sub-Zero and Scorpion plot. I thought that was just really fascinating to me, and I really would love to see more of them. Like, can I just get a Sub-Zero and Scorpion spin-off series? Like, I don't even give me Mortal Kombat 2. I just want to focus on those guys. There are things about this movie that I'm thinking to myself, did we add too many characters? To kind of take away from some of the main characters we kind of could have focused on a little bit more. But the idea of each person having to find their arcana, I felt like took up a lot of time for this movie. So I don't know. I don't know what I would have done a little bit better. But one of the things that I will say is that you can just tell that there was a kind of a lack of focus in here in regards to keeping this script pretty tight. It does seem like it can go all over the place and not really have one particular character that you focus solely on and build off and around, whereas you really just try and highlight everybody's character. And then I feel like because of that, it just feels very shallow and very surface level for a lot of these characters. So you don't really have that attachment to them that you certainly want, but it definitely does lead to some amazing fight sequences. And I will say this: the idea of we talked about this over the past couple of weeks of the writer of this movie and even the director coming out and saying this is going to be the best action ever filmed for the big screen. You know, I don't know if I would certainly go that far, but still impressive to certainly say the least. If you were coming for your gore and your action, your fatalities, they had some breathtaking ones in here, man. The one was it Kung Lao when he's riding on the witch into the saw. That was sick, man. I was like,
victory.
That was so sick. Even my girlfriend was taken aback, like, damn, I can't believe they did that. So they did have some great moments in here. But yeah, as far as like concrete, fantastic storytelling, yeah, that was definitely out of the window. But again, I mean, what are you expecting when it comes to a Mortal Kombat movie? So while it certainly was enjoyable to a certain extent, I really enjoyed aspects of this film. It definitely left me lacking in other areas, but I wouldn't mind seeing a sequel. Honestly, I really wouldn't, because I do think that they had a great sense of who some of these characters were, had some fun with them, like Kano, a little annoying at times, but I did like the Kano character. But yeah, I wouldn't mind seeing a little bit more, but maybe give me a little bit more focus on the characters in the sequel.
I actually think it would have been kind of interesting if instead of doing a full-on Mortal Kombat movie, we had a movie focused just on Sub-Zero and Scorpion, and just like title the movie Sub-Zero versus Scorpion, and then maybe make a Mortal Kombat movie afterwards.
After that,
just because, yeah, like I thought that beginning scene was actually like so excellent, and then same with the very end, the payoff that we get with it. It's just kind of weird that we get that set up in the very beginning, and even though it's not like it's forgotten per se, you definitely kind of expect, oh, we're following this character, which means he's the one who has to come over, or he's the one who has to defeat Sub-Zero and and avenge his ancestors in a sense. But no, it just becomes oh, my great grandfather just resurrected himself, so he's going to take care of this guy for me.
Yeah, and they just seemingly had the best teamwork in the world. Like they just
he's never met each other, but
never met each other.
Like,
yeah.
Like, there's nothing to imply that I speak Japanese, but I understand every single word you're saying.
Yeah, just little things like that just kind of add to the disbelief. But again, it is one of those things, and it's crazy to me too, Stuart, because just before the movie wind up dropping, they literally released the very first 7 minutes of this movie, and to me, the first 7 minutes were like the best of the entire movie. And it's just one of those things. I remember asking my girlfriend like 2 days before the movie dropped. I said, "Listen, they released the first 7 minutes of Mortal Kombat. Do you want to watch it with me?" And she's like, "No, let's wait till the actual movie drops." I'm like, good, because what if the first 7 minutes is the best, all of the good stuff of this movie? I would have been so disappointed if I watched that already and then went into the Mortal Kombat movie, because I felt like they really had a great sense of the lore that they wanted to establish, but maybe just the execution of that lore being connected as the movie progressed, I felt maybe got lost in just some of all the other characters that they kind of focused on until the very end. So I would have liked to have seen more elements of that kind of established throughout the entirety of, or see Cole actually learn about his heritage as it goes along, type of thing. You know what I mean? But
I would have, it would have made that whole thing of his great grandfather, like, appearing to fight beside him. It would have made that a lot more. It wouldn't have felt as out of place or out of nowhere if there was like a lot of him learning about his heritage. That would have been actually really cool.
Like, how did he come back? Did he just come back based off his pure hatred and vengeance for Sub-Zero? He just manifested himself, I'm assuming, from hell to come back?
Raiden mentioned the fact that he's, in hell and he's, seeking revenge, but that's it. So we don't really know how he actually escaped from hell or anything like that.
I definitely would have liked to have seen it. But, listen, again, while we definitely do have our issues with this movie, it seems that we both at least enjoyed aspects of the film. So bring it on. I do think like these people seem to have a good understanding of Mortal Kombat and the characters and things like that. So I would like to see them. And now that they have their first movie under their belt, this will just be added experience for them, because again, this movie did feel like first time. I feel like more first time writer than first time director, because I thought the director actually did a pretty good job with this film. But as far as first time writing, it definitely felt that way to me. But now that they have that experience under their belt, there definitely seems to be opportunity here out of this Mortal Kombat movie. So hopefully we'll get ourselves a sequel and maybe some other spin-off stuff out of that too, because I believe Joe Taslim, I can't remember his last name, but the gentleman that played Sub-Zero apparently is under contract with like for 4 movies. If the first Mortal Kombat went off well, they're certainly planning on bringing him back as Sub-Zero for at least 3 other films. So I say utilize them while you can. So I do hope that we get more out of this.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see here. And we have our last group of questions. This is from Adrian Perez. Thank you very much, Adrian, for your questions. What were your favorite Marvel and DC films of all time or as recent, and why? What are your favorite Marvel and DC films of all time? For me, Man of Steel will be mine for DC. Absolutely love that movie. It continues to grow on me more and more. For me, at least, I like the idea of seeing a Clark Kent, one, learning about his past, but also trying to come to a realization and an understanding that now he has to finally reveal himself. Seeing how he handles and struggle things literally as like his first day as the Man of Steel, I find really fascinating. So I really love what Zack Snyder wound up creating, personally, at least, just seeing the struggles of Clark Kent as a kid, seeing some of the life lessons he's had to learn from his father, and really just some of the decision making that he has to make for himself, going into trusting the idea of revealing himself to Earth, and just some of the struggles that he has to deal with as Superman. I think, I don't think we've ever seen a Superman in that light before. We've always kind of seen him having already picked up the mantle, already very far into his career, sort of thing, right? But to be able to see somebody that's kind of thrown into the deep end of the pool and having to figure things out, there's something about that I really enjoy. Somebody mentioned this, somebody in my YouTubes that I usually watch refers to Man of Steel sort of as a first contact movie, for aliens, if you will, which I kind of dig. Also, the idea of the world embracing the idea that this is our first encounter with Kryptonians and another alien species, and how that really has kind of changed the world from that point forward. I always really love that aspect about it. So for DC, probably Man of Steel. I'll have to think on my Spider-Man one here. But what about you, Stuart? Do you have a Marvel and DC favorite movie of all time?
For DC, it's got to be kind of a draw between the 89 Tim Burton Batman movie and the 2017 Wonder Woman movie. Both of
Nice.
those I feel like are just amazing in their own way. Especially with the 89 Batman movie, I just absolutely love the style of it and how it really kind of changed Batman going forward, not just like in film, but in comics and of course through television as well, because it was that movie that inspired the Bruce Timm, Batman the Animated Series, which inspired like a whole, animated universe afterwards. So it really did have a huge impact on who Batman was like going forward. And then, as for the Wonder Woman movie, it was cool because, at that point, I was kind of giving up on DC movies because, like I personally, I thought Man of Steel was okay. I know that other people really love it and that's fine. I personally could never get fully on board with it. And then, of course, I think I've ranted so many times about how much I just don't like Dawn of
BVS,
Justice.
yeah.
Yeah. And then, Suicide Squad, I think most people kind of agree was just kind of forgettable. It was like, I describe it as like someone took like a really bad filler episode of The Walking Dead and just extended it into, a full length film. That's how I would describe the Suicide Squad movie. But yeah, Wonder Woman was that movie that really kind of gave me that hope for DC. Like, yay, DC can, still be good. It still has that potential there. It's not the DC, extended universe isn't dead yet. Now, when it comes to Marvel, It's really hard because I think almost anything the Russo brothers have produced or have directed have just been amazing. But I think, so to me, it comes between three movies: Civil War, The Winter Soldier, and Infinity War. Because I think those three are just so fantastic and amazing, and those are like the three go-to when it comes to Marvel for me. But I think I'll overall go with Infinity War only because of that ending that we got. I don't think anyone saw that coming, and just kind of the amount of shock and the amount of tears I could literally hear in the audience. I even had my girlfriend bawling her eyes out next to me, and then I could just hear people actually crying like behind me, and I'm like, wow, this only a movie like this could make this many people cry. Like, so that's just, to me, that was freaking amazing. So yeah, I'll probably go with Infinity War for Marvel.
That's funny you mentioned that, because I remember literally watching Infinity War and there was a girl next to me. I didn't know it's just a couple right next to me, but all I hear is just sniffling and stuff. And I look over, she's like, Peter, no, Peter, no, crying at poor Peter Parker vanishing and stuff. She was in tears, man. Like, people were definitely crying in the audience. So I could definitely relate to that for sure. If I had to pick a Marvel, it probably would be The Winter Soldier. For me, that was just really what branched off, I feel like, Marvel into this realm of really diving into other genres for their cinematic universe, not just presenting traditional comic book movies, but really dabbing into something a little bit darker, a little bit more espionage, so for that always really impressed me. And then not only that, but to me, I always felt like this was my Captain America. I wasn't the biggest fan of the first Avenger. I really wanted to see a Captain America in his fully realized form, and to kind of kick off that movie with him infiltrating a ship and almost single-handedly taking everybody down. I thought was incredible to see just Captain America at work. And then not only that, but you had such a great first the fantastic and just as hot as can be Scarlett Johansson certainly coming through. The introduction of Sam Wilson I thought was brilliant in there. And then on top of that, there's some really great moments. That the elevator sequence out of that comes from there. Winter Soldier kind of gave me like Terminator vibes, and just how deadly he was, that even somebody like Natasha was scared about him. Just the action overall was incredible. This movie did everything, and just really just launched the Marvel Cinematic Universe into just a completely new phase that I don't think anybody was ready for. So for me, yeah, probably Winter Soldier is my favorite up there. But you bring some great ones too, because Infinity War is one that I can continue to watch over and over again. Let's see here. What new series are you excited to come out that's already filmed or about to be? What new series are you excited about? You know what? It may not be my most highly anticipated one, but I'm actually going back and doing a Game of Thrones binge session with the girlfriend. So I'm actually kind of excited for House of the Dragon, the Game of Thrones spinoff that's supposed to be happening. I know that they've been doing some casting. I don't know if filming has actually begun as of yet, but if there is a new series that I'm excited to see come out that's hopefully about to be filming soon, probably Game of Thrones, House of the Dragon. There's so many though.
Yeah. Man, I can't think of one specifically that I'm looking forward to. I am really curious about the Green Lantern series, only because we're supposed to be getting that like the same type of budget that the Marvel shows has behind it, and I do think that Green Lantern is a really cool character that you could really have fun exploring. So doing that through a television series, I think it's going to be awesome. I guess I'll go with that for my answer.
And then last but not least, he says, have you seen the film Bloodshot with Vin Diesel and the one by JDF from Power Rangers? What did you guys think of either? So I've not seen either. This is really where I wish Indy was on board here to give his thoughts, because I do believe Indy has seen at least both of them. Have you seen both of them, Stuart?
Yep.
What are your thoughts?
I thought the one with Jason David Frank was all right. It was a fun fan film, honestly. And I think like I'm not familiar with that universe. I think it's called Valiant, if
Yeah,
I'm not
Valiant Comics.
mistaken.
Mhm.
Yeah, so I'm not fully familiar with the Valiant universe, but what was cool about it is that it kind of just combined a lot of different comic book properties from the Valiant universe, put them together. But yeah, I thought Jason David Frank, surprisingly did a pretty decent job. A lot of times when he's on Power Rangers, he tends to overact, so it comes off as even more cheesy than Power Rangers already is. But here I thought he did a lot better of kind of like laying back a little bit.
Okay.
So yeah, but the Vin Diesel one was pretty bad.
Was that bad?
Yeah, it wasn't good. I'd say it's watchable and it's very short, which is the good thing. But it's also really, really dumb. And any type of suspense that they could have had in the movie, it's almost like the movie self-sabotaged itself, because before what could have been like a really awesome reveal, if the characters weren't talking as much, they kind of give you the big twist really early on, because one of the villains decides to say what the twist is going to be out loud, thinking that the suspense and the actual reveal wasn't going to be cool on its own. Like, nope, audiences need to have it all fully explained to them. So yeah, it was not good, but I'll give it this: for its budget, there was a lot of effort put into the special effects.
Yeah, I remember from the trailer alone being really impressed with what I saw visually. I thought the special effects were pretty cool. Like there was a shot of like his face being shot off or blown off or something like that. And I can't remember what it was. And then just seeing him like heal up again or whatever the case may be. I don't know. I just remember the trailers looked really cool. But yeah, I never had the opportunity to check it out. I just heard some reviews about it, heard it was pretty lackluster. So I just never got on board with it. But so at least I'll know to continue to stay away from it. But yeah, if you guys have had the opportunity to check out the Bloodshot stuff, please go ahead and let us know your thoughts. But other than that, guys, I think that actually wraps it up for all of our topics here for today. I know Jessica Fryman did go ahead and submit another one in here just before 2 o'clock, but I probably will hold off on that one until next week also. But other than that, guys, I think that's going to do it for us here at A Plus Hero Report. So thank you very much for definitely joining us as always, here every Sunday live at noon Central Time for you guys. So if you want a place that's going to wrap up your week's news in regards to Marvel, DC, television, and movies, this is definitely the place for you guys. So definitely go ahead and hit that subscribe button here on YouTube, and also that bell notification, so that when we do go live or drop brand new videos or reviews throughout the week for you guys, you will certainly go ahead and be notified. And if you're watching us over on Facebook, give us a like there. Certainly go ahead and join our community on our Facebook page as well. We definitely appreciate your help and support there as well. But Stuart, if people want to go ahead and reach out to you, sir, on social media, where can they find you at?
You guys can find me on Twitter at TurboStew01.
Awesome, man. Awesome. Thank you as always, Stuart, for certainly coming through. And hopefully we'll definitely see you next weekend as well. And of course, guys, listen, if you want to go ahead and follow us on social media, you can do so right here up at the top. A Plus Opinions, very active over on Twitter, as well as our main page, which is Facebook. You can also check us out on Instagram as well as Twitch for you gamers as well. But until next time, guys, listen, we've got a ton of DC television reviews headed your way this week. And we'll definitely see you guys next weekend. So in the meantime, do us a big favor, take care of yourselves, take care of each other, and as always, keep it A+. I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.